Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's P to Z up on the mic. Whoa. Hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry. Subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.
I got you.
We'll save that for that portion of the show. What's up? What's going on, everybody? We are back. We're back after the finale. Yeah, we're here. We have Dustin Baker with us, Mr. Constable himself. Dustin, for those of you who might not know who Dustin is, Dustin provides us a safe and secure environment at the camp event. Himself and his whole team that he has down there. Mr. Head of Security. Yeah, he is the man. He is. So Dustin wanted to hang out with us tonight and talk with us. He's been a fan of the show forever, a huge supporter of the camp event, a huge supporter of us, a huge supporter of everybody. And just a great personal friend. Yeah, absolutely. And so he's here hanging out with us tonight. He's going to give us his thoughts about the finale. So yeah, guys, we're literally going to just take our time with this one and close it out in the best way we can. We're going to give it the sweet TLC that it deserves. We're going to give it a nice little rub-a-dub-dub and smack behind the head. Oh, yeah. Not where I thought that one was going. Well, so YouTube is popping right now. Yeah. What is going on, everybody out there in YouTube world? Tiffy. We got Tiffy, Anthony, Mitchell, yep. Hi, Becky. Oh, Becky's there? Yep. What up, Beck? Wow, we got a lot of people. Yeah, Lisa. We got Eric. Holy shit, guys. Yeah.
And Meg and I got to meet Mitchell this weekend.
Yeah. I'm actually very jealous of that.
Yes, so you guys were at the viewing party, right?
I got to show you my major award.
Oh.
So my cousin bought me the autographed Sexton bottle.
Holy crap.
See that there?
Very nice. So cool.
Yeah, see it. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was sweet.
And Meg got a piece of the windmill.
Yes.
Yeah, it is massive. It's still in my studio.
It looks very dense.
Honestly, I cannot tell you how many DMs I've gotten, and people are saying that's the biggest piece I've ever seen anybody have.
Yeah.
This thing's literally at least a foot long, and I think it's like 6 inches tall. It's massive.
Yeah. That's and you guys, between Josh, Renee, and you, Meg, you guys did your part in, for Bert's Big Adventure with the benefit to charity for those kids and everything. So we appreciate that.
All said and done, over $10,000 was raised.
That's fantastic.
Holy shit.
Just unbelievable. And we got to meet 3 of the kids. They came up on stage with us.
Yes.
And got to we had them do the drawings for the raffle. So that was so cool to have them up there. And we did interviews and panels with people. And we did the Bad Boys panel, and that was awesome. We had Adam Maranovich, who played Ed. Mm-hmm. We had Keith Brooks, who played Dan the Claimer, and we had William Bell, who is the savior slash Hilltop. I guess I'm not sure what his other title was, but yeah.
And it was just so cool, like seeing in the show there are all these big, literally the bad boys of The Walking Dead, and they are like some of the most proper gentlemen I've ever met, and I'm just like
Keith Brooks, who played the guy who tried to rape Carl. He was the most polite man you've ever seen. I was like, look at this guy. It's so hilarious. And so it was just so neat to meet him and talk with him. And yeah.
I was cracking up. It was like mid-interview. I'm asking, I forget who I was asking a question. I think it was Keith. All of a sudden he's like, wait a minute. Do you have a Stitch tattoo? Like literally just stopped the entire interview. And I just lost my entire train of thought. I was like, oh, yeah. So after the interview, I went to his table and I was like, here. And he was just like loving it.
That's amazing.
awesome.
I always love when you have like these guys, these characters who you either hate them or like you just want to like strangle them. You know what I mean? Like they're either the bad guys or they're like the weasels. You know what I mean? But like the actors and actresses are just like the nicest human beings possible. And like at the camp in October, I had my moment with Teo, right? And Sebastian, you know what I mean? And it was funny because you guys obviously were there, and so we're talking about him, and I said, some people would even call Sebastian like, I don't know, weasel. And he's like, all right, well, hold on, all right, you could have used less, robust words than that. And I was like, fair enough, but it was just so cool to see people like that and like see them for the people they are. You know what I mean? And like the amount of acting range they have is very cool. To see that.
Yeah. So I'm going. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Anthony and Nicole for organizing such an amazing event, and we actually got like a little gift bag, and in the card, I'm not gonna say what was written because it was just the nicest note I've ever received, and it was just so sweet. It just made the whole night even better. I've never had something like that before. It was so sweet. So thank you guys.
Yeah, I mean Nicole and Anthony have been like, two of our biggest supporters for the longest time.
Yeah.
It was very cool because at the camp obviously Anthony was at will call, and I would always just talk to him as I'm passing by and just like saying, hey buddy, what's up, what's going on? And he told me about, I don't know what they're called in the professional world, but like the inserts that you put over the mic, and it's like the square things, and like,
oh yeah.
And he's like, I order them for you guys, like they're gonna be there, and we order the stickers, and we're gonna, Nicole's gonna put them together, and Nicole comes up, she goes, I'm gonna do what now? He was like, we talked about this. It was just so funny, but seeing them give us that support is so cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
and
And
we got to interview Carrie again, which is always a treat.
Oh god.
Mitchell was sharing in the chat that Carrie was the first celebrity he got to meet, and she just hugged him, and then he got to play Survive the Night with her, and they scared each other.
very nice.
Wait, it was the first Walking Dead actor ever he got to meet?
I think so.
Oh,
And Carrie's like Carrie's a
Mitchell,
perfect one to meet.
that Carrie was the first Walking Dead actor you met?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah,
Like first like actress, actor. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And what a great one to meet. Yeah. But I had never been to a viewing party like that before. There were probably 200 people or more. I mean, it was packed. And it was so much fun. And, the reactions are great when, you're kind of timid to do this, and everybody else starts yelling, okay, good. And then, have free reign to react how I want to react and everything. And it was just a blast. So we just appreciate Anthony and Nicole and everybody who put that event on and allowing us to come and be a little part of that. And Nicole saying 275 people. So,
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. So it was quite the party.
I know Chris and I both had some serious, FOMO. Like I was at work and I was just checking on Facebook and Instagram, and I was like, oh god, I you guys saw me. I was looking up flights. I'm like, but I can't justify spending $800 for like an 18-hour turnaround. I can't do it. You know what I mean?
I can honestly say you guys were so messed, and we thought about you constantly all night.
Well, I appreciate that.
You were there in spirit when
Traveling Pookie. That's a good point.
With Carrie.
I know, I saw that.
Did you see my comment with Carrie where I was like, I love you guys. I'll be there in spirit. And she goes, and in doll form. It's like, yeah, you're not wrong. There he is. God.
Traveling Pookie. He's been around for quite some time.
I mean, God.
His face fell off.
Oh, no.
I gotta get a picture.
I think we need to make one of all of us.
That's okay.
If can't make an event, we can bring the traveling version of it.
I'm glad that you have to get a new picture because I actually have like beard now.
Yeah.
Not baby face anymore, so
we actually got like a nice little beard gang here tonight.
Yeah, we
look
do.
at this wonderful beard on this man.
Every time I see him, I stroke it. You know what I mean? His beard, you perverts.
Whoa, Ryan.
Dustin, don't stay quiet now, brother.
Nicole said in the chat that she goes, that your $800 for your plane ticket would be better served as a text to give.
Oh, she called you out, bro.
She did. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and Anthony did. He was actually nice enough. He got us a bottle of the Sexton whiskey, so we just have to arrange the shipping. And
thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
My hands on that bad boy.
Thank you. At least you get it.
All right, so let's
dive in, shall we?
let's get into this. Okay. The show starts the ending of where it actually began. So inside a hospital. We have Daryl rushing in. He's obviously carrying Judith. A lot right off the bat. You have a lot of callbacks. You know, you have Judith on the bed,
falling out of the bed,
looking back, similar to how when Rick woke up.
With this kind of weird like tunnel vision, distorted vision going on, very similar.
Yeah. And the walkers, you know, finally seeing it, like the department store walker in season 1 banging on the glass with the rock, and then you had this happen again in the scene later on.
Yep.
You know, it a lot of it sent like chills, you know, because it's like it brings you back to day one.
And like I pointed out, you know, Daryl pushing the stretcher in front of the hospital door, and he's like, "I'll be back, dude," you know, and just seeing that, obviously Shane and Rick. I mean, you know, Rick's unconscious in the bed. Shane pushes the stretcher against the door, and he goes running out. You know what I mean? Same thing. You know, very similar. Again, hospital setting, same thing. You know.
Pi says, "Anyway, see the Commonwealth Guards, self-proclaimed good guys, just run past a wounded child." Yeah,
I mean, they were stealing medical supplies for Pamela.
Right.
I mean, that's you literally see the cooler and you see the big red, you know, medical, you know, EMS symbol on it, and they're running out the door. They obviously were stealing the meds, and probably you're right. I mean, they're self-proclaimed good guys, but I mean, the fuck everybody else, right?
All for the Commonwealth.
Yep.
You know.
For Pamela, not even the.
Well, yeah, for Pamela, yeah.
Yeah. She sells it for the betterment of the Commonwealth, but it's really for the betterment of her.
Yeah. Well, at this point, though, I don't think that's what she was even. Yeah. I mean,
True.
She was. You know, send the walkers to the bad part of town and keep them away from the estate.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So from there, we cut to the alleyway where everybody else is kind of stranded at this point. We lose Luke. We lose Jules. Well, yeah. I mean, he got bit. They kind of gave that away. I felt like there was a photo. Yeah, there was a photo of him.
And then AMC retracted the picture, so he totally gave that away.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew he was going, so and Jules obviously being caught up in that whole melee, you know, I guess I can actually say like nobody died that I really thought, like I didn't think anybody of the main characters were going to die. I never really Rosita. We've been throwing around for a while now, but
I did.
Yeah, I just like I was hoping. I was hoping for a lot more death. I really was, but they set it up to where everyone's alive to now expand on this world. But you know, losing, you know, and I told Ryan this in the pre-show, like when they're at the end of the episode and they're all sitting around having dinner. And they do a toast. They only toast Luke. I'm like, and we don't want to toast Jules? Just toast to Luke. To Luke. I was like, wow. Smack across the face.
Fuck you, Jules.
They really knew her, though, because she lived at Oceanside. Then he met her, went away from her.
It's his girl.
So, well, I know, but they don't even know that. They haven't seen Luke since season 10.
That's true. Probably didn't have much time to say anything.
Yeah, I don't think there's not much that they knew about her. And they just come running into this path in the middle of this, you know, I didn't think a thing of it.
I don't know. I kind of saw it as like a smack across the face for Jules.
See, I kind of knew, I had a feeling Rosita wasn't going to make it. Because, I mean, not based on the trailer where we saw her fall, but if you go all the way back, I actually have to read off my notes here, all the way back to episode 5 of this season, when Judith is crying over the wood that got broken with like her and Carl's handprints. Rosita comes to talk to her and mentions about like how Rosita's mom kind of set her up when she was younger to survive on her own. And it was one of the few times she really like dug back into her past and let us see into how she is the way she is. And just something clicked in my head. Is like, oh, she's giving insight. A lot of times when characters give insights and they have a moment to shine, they don't always make it. So just something clicked in my head. Like, I don't think she's going to make it to the end.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what, like, Kira, I know you said, like, I'm not here. I'm sorry. Who said it? Jaws. You said that Rosita should have lived, but the thing is that, as everybody's saying, Christian Serratos wanted her to die because she felt that she needed that closure for her character and for herself.
Yeah.
And what better way to go out than go out on the series finale of a show that's run for the past 12 years? I mean, that's probably got to be one of the most memorable deaths just because of the gravity of the episode alone. And I think that
she was, sorry.
no, you're good, Meg. I just think it was a great way to go out. Honestly, probably the best way to go out.
She did say she was mad though. She got robbed of the the death dinner.
Oh yeah,
Because it was the end for everybody.
yeah,
That's so fair.
right.
This whole thing with Luke too in the hospital, I thought it was a pretty significant gesture for him to point into his pocket for them to retrieve the harmonica.
Yeah.
Music is. He was a teacher or a professor or whatever. It was a part of his life. So let the music will always kind of play on kind of thing for him. I thought that was pretty significant for his character's death. And why, out of all the people, they take the knife. I'm like, how do you get, how do you get picked for that? Magnus is kind of everyone's bawling and they're just kind of here, you do it. She's like, thanks. Bawling, crying. She's like, okay, I'll do it.
She's the one with the least emotions in that group.
Yeah.
I guess.
You know what I mean? She's kind of a hard ass, I think.
Yeah.
Where she's been in prison, she's been in whatever and that kind of stuff. So I think they just feel like she's that person, I guess.
Yeah.
We would hand it to Chris,
Thanks.
Let's be real.
I mean, I'm saying
I'm gonna hand it to Dustin. Here, you do it.
I was just feeling relieved that if I ever got bit, you were going to be the one to stab me. So
All right.
at least we know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, if any of you guys got bit, I wouldn't be able to do it. I know that's not. I know
You're gonna let me turn.
I
You're gonna let me turn.
Be a bit.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
You're gonna let me turn.
But I couldn't bring myself to stab my friend in the head.
So just let me turn.
I would tie you up to the radiator or
Wow.
something like that.
Oh
And,
my god, that's a callback to the Walking Dead game.
Wow.
Don't say
oh, you're not. You're right.
In the head.
Wow.
that. I hated
Like,
that
I want to be.
choice.
Spoiler.
Put me in a wheelchair like Weekend at Bernie's.
I always tell my husband, if I turn into a zombie, he better keep me for a pet. I want him to chain me up or something and just feed me something once in a while. Obviously, you can brush your hair.
Nicole's a savage. She goes, I would. I'd put you out of your misery.
You're what?
Nicole goes, I could. I would put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
Savage.
Um,
But yes, Josh would brush my hair if I was a zombie because he knows how important my hair is.
there you go.
See, Pod gets me.
You'd be like Penny in the closet. You know what I mean?
Like,
Daddy Governor.
See, Pod understands me. Pod goes, we cannot stab Chris. We would just keep his animated corpse in the shed. I'm saying.
Is Pie Herschel now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
He'll get better.
Yeah. Exactly. Give him some cough syrup. Syrup. Cough syrup. So while that whole commotion's going on over Luke, Carol and Dale are just watching and observing and having their own sidebar. But we learn a little something about Daryl's background again as growing up when he says that Judith needs blood. So Carol's kind of you gotta. How do you know you're not a what'd she say? You're not a match. You're not a match. Yeah, you're not a match. Whatever. And he said, I'm a universal donor. Merle used to make me sell my blood to make money when I was a kid. And I'm like, God damn, man.
Yeah.
It was really cool to learn.
But also in a post-apocalyptic world where this group, the senior people of this group have been together for 15 years in the reality of the universe of The Walking Dead at this point. You're just finding this out now? You know how many times I could have used your blood, damn it? You know what I mean? That's what I've been like. Especially Carol. You're just saying this now?
Yeah.
What?
But it was most important.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just feel sorry for Michael Rooker, who played Merle, for all these things that come up after he's gone.
Mhm.
He did this and did that. And I'm like, poor guy.
Can't defend himself.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
actually, Daryl. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go.
I was like, Daryl giving blood to Judith was actually another callback to when Rick gave blood to Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the first
right.
time he was shot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was that when he got shot with the really shitty fake CGI deer?
No, the first time in season 2.
The first deer wasn't that. This is back in season 2. That deer wasn't bad.
Which one was the bad one?
With Rick and Michonne at
That was the bad one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got my deer mixed up. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. It's been 12 years. Excuse me. You know,
Yeah.
the mind's not the same it used to be.
The other comic book thing that happened too, because they cut to what's going on with Mercer and him being incarcerated in jail, and we have his jailbreak happen by Princess. In the comic book, that's actually done by his sister. So that was like that's actually done by Max in the comic. But I thought that was like just a really cool comic sequence to see happen. It was nice to see that. Some of the stuff, like I was saying in the pre-show with everybody, I feel like some of it was rushed. So that they could tie up loose ends and get storylines closed and everything. But yeah, I mean, it was fitting, for obviously Princess to rescue him and get him out. The whole Negan and Maggie conversations throughout this whole episode were great, I thought. Mm-hmm. All their dialogue, Negan constantly trying to get her to basically become a team player, with him at least, is just, he wears the pain of his past really well as an actor, like in this show. Mm-hmm. He really, it's kudos to him because he really knows how to express that pain, without never doing that in real life, like he obviously, but as his character and what he's done in his past, during their conversations that they have throughout this whole episode, he really knows how to like reflect that, and that was very impressive for me. I mean, to like, and I mean, obviously he's a great actor. We've always known that, but certain things are really hard to do, expression wise and mannerisms and facial expressions and everything like that. So I was really impressed with that with him.
Mm-hmm. Because he looks like a man who's just beat down.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just carrying the weight of the world. This is just weighing on him. And he's come to that point, like he said, when I was on my knees. I mean, that was, when he was sitting there and it was his wife and baby on the line, it flipped in his brain. Finally that impacted him personally. Mm-hmm. Not just seeing Maggie hurt, seeing Herschel, and be in pain for that, but to actually, experience it himself. That's when it finally clicked for him. Yeah. And that was, Yeah.
Speaking of babies, we, cause you just said something about babies. Yeah. Speaking of babies, we have, you called her, what did you call Rosita? Something mama?
The mama bear.
Mama bear. Yeah. Mama bear. Yeah.
Mama bear mode.
She went.
Do not mess with someone's children. I always tell everybody that. There's like 3 people in my life, but I don't hate anybody, but there are 3 people, one of each who have hurt all 3 of my children. And that first, those instincts just come out, like when you hear about the dad lifting the car because his kid's under it,
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happens with mamas.
Can I send you a list of people that have hurt me?
Send them.
I need you to go mama bear mode on.
Yeah. Send them to Dustin too.
Between everybody,
he's got ways
in this stream. I know you guys got my back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may be short, but and he is sexual, but I got your back.
I always know at the camp that Dustin's my mama bear,
Yeah, he is. But I mean, so actually, Dustin, this is a good question for you. Gunplay wise, the gun action you saw with Rosita when she enters the room, the first, if you guys didn't, catch it quick enough, but the first walker that she comes in contact with in that room as she goes in to get Coco is a variant. It literally grabs her arm and pulls her. But I mean, from like your professional background, gunplay wise, like what's it been for you for the show? Like, is it pretty spot on from what you see?
True story, and I hate to admit this, I almost quit watching The Walking Dead the first episode.
Really?
Because at the very beginning, when they're having the car chase scene, you have Rick tell the other deputy that he needs to take his safety off, make sure there's one in the chamber, and take his safety off. And he's clearly holding a Glock, and the Glock
Doesn't have a safety.
And I was like,
Done.
Now let's flash forward. It's been pretty accurate. I've saw some really janky things like mag lights on the end of guns for suppressors. I've saw some red dots that go backwards and things like that. But for the most part, it's pretty streamlined. Like even going back to Rosita, once you get into the apocalypse and you're trying to save everyone around you and not just protect yourself, her initial instinct is not to fire the gun, to take the walker out the other way. So she goes right to what she's trained to do and what she knows, but then in that rush does her gunplay and then even, double taps the zombie that's on the floor
Yeah.
to make sure that's the closest one to my child. It's dead now. I'm going to make sure it's dead. But, like I said, I think it's been great. But again, there's been some janky things, like even when Daryl ran out one time when the episode where they all were coming back to save Ezekiel and everything, everybody's running out with a standard AK, and Daryl comes out with this fully custom rifle, and I'm like, what is that?
We make fun of that all the time.
All the time.
It's like the Call of Duty tactical
Like future warfare.
Yeah. Snow camo
They
edition.
do a close up to it, like here's something. But I liked it. I liked it better back in the beginning. It was more Busey Team Gemini is the knife that Daryl uses, and they you saw the Gerber things and guns and stuff. And it's evolved, but I'm still more of the. I'm glad I kept watching. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I'm happy you said that, just because a lot of people who don't have that knowledge, don't have that kind of, I guess, firsthand experience with watching tactical stuff or anything, tactical wise, being able to pinpoint what's accurate and what's not. So, nice to have a weapons guy here to help us out with that. But that's not all he does. Just saying, he's pretty proficient. He's got stuff and things.
We have other toys.
Yeah. The next callback that happens after all that is basically the breach on the hospital with the walkers and everything. And Daryl securing Judith in the room, aka how Shane did it for Rick.
Yeah.
Then you have the rock in the walker's hand and he smashed him on a glass. We talked about that earlier, but just like this whole scenario, this whole scene really just rushed me back to season 1, with downtown Atlanta and everything, with the walkers everywhere and no place to go, Rick on a horse trapped in a tank. Like it was just hordes of walkers everywhere. And it really flooded me with like a lot of those memories. Trying to escape the department store, and all that stuff. And in this case, they're trying to get out of the hospital. Go ahead.
So I like that they immediately there at the beginning get you back to being afraid of zombies.
Mm-hmm.
There for a while.
Yep.
You were, but you weren't, but they were there, but not there. So I really liked that they integrated that and was just, kind of taking us back to, what you just said, back to the beginning.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like WTF moments for the characters, like seeing, Negan had a WTF moment. I think it was last episode where he saw the walker, I think it was climbing or something. And he was like, what the fuck? So like a lot of them have had these moments, like, because, they haven't seen it yet. So when it's happened, it's like great to see that expression of what's going on.
I love Rosita on the radio. We're fucked.
Yeah.
We're totally fucked.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that you're probably trying to conserve ammo. So you come out of the back of the ambulance and you're stabbing everything that's close. Call me wasteful, but I just would have call me wasteful, but I just would have
Spray and pray.
If I had 30 in the magazine or 60 in the magazine, that's 30 or 60 of them dead.
There is no tactical application for that.
Yeah.
There's no playbook for that.
That's fight and flight right there.
I mean, we waste bullets on single zombies the entire season, and now we're conserving ammo.
Yeah.
Now, that's my biggest complaint. One of my biggest complaints the whole season was that we acted like there's infinite ammo laying around, and we're just gonna we could stab this one zombie, but why stab him when we could just make his head explode?
Right.
And now we're stabbing.
So there's two things that with this whole scene that plays out with Gabriel, Eugene, and Rosita. They all have kids strapped to their bodies. They're fighting this horde of walkers, and I know you had something that really bothered you and Meg. I know you spotted something that got that didn't get taken out in editing. So I'll let
editor and me found it all.
Yes. So I'll let Ryan. I mean, and this is kind of like a huge grind my guts moment. We all have something about this scene in general that really bothered us, but I'll let Ryan go first.
It's shit like this that makes me wish that I could play the scene for you guys and show you frame by frame what I'm seeing here. But if you go back and watch that scene, Rosita's the last one to climb up on the ambulance. Only one because they made it up the pipe. But she's climbing up the ambulance, and right behind her are two variants who are now pulling themselves on top of the ambulance via the front of the ambulance. Okay, so they're at the point where the light bar is on the ambulance. So they're about a third, if not more, of the way on the ambulance. Now the scene pans away. Scene goes back to her jumping across, and now you see this ground view up of her jumping across dramatically to grab the pipe. The next scene you see is level with the ambulance, and the variant walker is nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
the variant walkers are gone. Like she just Harry Pottered them away. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, so there's been some choppiness, obviously with their editing, trying to get the season done and everything. We know Angela King spoke a lot about trying to get all the episodes in, with COVID playing such a huge factor and everything like that. And then them actually being able to ramp up again and get everything going. So there's been some miscues. Meg, you picked up on a miscue in the same scene.
Sadly so. It's kind of it's like a blink and you miss it thing. When Rosita falls back into the horde, you can still see the safety mat that she falls on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can.
You can kind of disregard it into just the dark, the shadow of the street.
No, you can see it. You can see it. Yeah, you can see it. So I'm gonna take it from a standpoint as this. So look. I weigh 230 pounds. Okay, I'm not a light person by any means. With a 20 to 30 pound child on me, strapped to my body, plus my gear and everything else I'm carrying, a gun or a rifle, whatever else they have on.
Club thing she has.
Yeah, the club, the satchel, everything else. You're adding, I'm going to say, anywhere from 25 to 45 pounds on your body. The amount of strength it takes to grab a round cylinder-like pole that's bolted very closely to a building and then hoist yourself up that, okay, look, it's not impossible, but it is not an easy feat, especially when you are Eugene. And I'm sorry, Gabe. I'm sorry, Seth, but, I just don't see it happening. And even with Rosita's background in the military and everything else, it's just very, very hard to believe, especially when you have children strapped to you. The two guys have them on their backs. Fine. But Rosita literally has Coco on her stomach, on her chest area. So when she jumps and has to grab that pole, plant her feet, and not smash her body into the building.
And her kid.
Well, that's what. Yeah, that's what I mean. Adrenaline. Okay, look.
Lifting the car.
there's I would have to argue the adrenaline thing, saying that your adrenaline dump doesn't last this long. You know, you can have an adrenaline dump for a solid minute, I'd say, a really good burst of like solid adrenaline rush. And then after that, you're completely exhausted because your body just dumped everything it had into 60 seconds of fight or flight. And then you're shot. I just wish that they would just make things more realistic sometimes. That's all. That's all I'm asking. And I mean, I don't have to ask anymore because it's over, but suspense, sure. You know, the thrill of defeating death, sure. The actual feat of pulling it off, absolutely not. So that's not in this case, not in this scenario. And I mean, obviously, I'm going into my own roots as far as, you know, survival instincts and everything like that. I just don't see any of them surviving at all in this scenario. But they did, kind of. Well, yeah. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
They were all still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one of the kids was Jerry and Nabila's kid, one of the babies.
They had a baby that little.
Yeah,
I thought they had a baby.
They say, yeah, Pi said they.
Because I thought there was a scene early in the season where Nabila had a baby.
Yeah, so one of the baby, yeah, I guess now that I think back that like during the what do you call it, the Halloween thing,
Yeah.
I think she was holding a baby. So yeah, because there were 3 total, right?
Yeah,
They-
three
they-
kids total.
So somebody had just asked who the other kids were. So obviously one of them was Jerry's then, and then I think the other one was just probably one of the exiles that they took. Like that's where they got those babies and
Yeah.
took them from them.
When Jerry asked where Nabila was, oh my heart!
You know?
I was like, no. You know, I got emotional because especially knowing like Cooper and Nadine, I was like, oh my god, like this is how Cooper would have felt about Nadine. Like they'd been like, where's Nadine? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn,
Yeah.
like I felt it translate very well.
And actually, Mitchell brought up a really good point in the chat. It's talking about the commercials.
Oh yeah.
Dead Taylor commercials.
Oh my
I
god,
did see a bunch of
phenomenal.
A, they were perfect.
Yes.
And B, they finally confirmed Andrea's last name.
Yeah.
Because it would have all been speculation all these years if it was Harrison or not, and they finally confirmed it. So I was happy to know that.
That's cool. Yeah.
And I just want to shout out to Mitchell and say that I was right. That was Gareth. He had showed me a picture before the commercials aired. He goes, so that's and that. You know, it was Milton, Andrea, and Natalie. He goes, who do you think that is? We're all trying to figure it out. You know, and I said, that's Gareth. And he's like, I don't think that's who it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just trying to see what we got here in the comments. If we got anything that popped up. We still don't know where Virgil is. Linda wants to know where Virgil is.
Probably
I
want
think
Jerry
my
and
guts
Nabila.
moment.
Yeah.
Should I hold off? Or?
Yeah, well, no, yeah. Wait. Hold off on it until we get towards the end. Because obviously the ending, we all know that the ending revealed 2 characters that most of you have been just frantically waiting to see again. Where
I was
like
trying to contain my roles.
where I realistically couldn't give a shit. But I mean, I love Michonne. She's been my favorite character from the very beginning.
Spoiler.
But, you know, yeah, I know. But like, you know, it's really, for me, the steam with everything with that situation is just run out for me. I'll wait and see what they do with the show, but I just don't have it in me right now to get the oomph up to really be hyped about it. All right, chat looks good. Nicole said, sad that Anthony Collins will never find out if Lori lived because Anthony has that whole
running theory
about Lori being alive because they never saw her body, which we know bodies mean everything.
Maybe she'll show up in the Rick and Michonne series. She'll punch Michonne in the face and be like, bitch, that's my husband.
I am happy, though. I will say that I am happy I called it that we saw Lance again. I knew we were going to see him again as a walker.
Yep.
I even said something to him while we were at the camp.
Yes.
I said it on the panel.
Yeah.
And he just made a face like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
So I just had a feeling by the look on his face he would be back.
Yeah.
And the anger in his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Very good.
And when with that and him, are we that far yet, or am I jumping the gun?
No, we're good. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say that was like Pamela doing that was like Carol's comic death.
Mm,
She gave herself up to the walker, you know. So I thought,
Yeah.
oh no.
I definitely think that had Maggie not pulled the trigger, she absolutely would have just gone through with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's that much of a coward that she would not have faced the music.
Well, yeah, because being arrested and knowing that she lost everything is a worse death than her actually dying,
Correct.
or worse punishment, I should say.
And losing everything that she
Exactly.
worked for. Absolutely.
So I didn't look at it though as her being a coward. I kind of looked at it as her accepting responsibility and being that sacrifice of, I know that I did really bad. I'm sorry. I don't have to be a reminder to you all of what I did. Here's my symbolic apology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think that makes sense because I think that, you know, I think the interpretation could be taken, you know, anyway. Honestly, I think because, you know, it could be that, or you know, she could have just wanted to take the easy way out instead of owning up to the responsibility of the fact that she fucked up so royally, you know, so many times that she shot a kid, even though, you know, she knew Judith was okay at that point because at that point Judith was like, you know, what she said, Governor, you know, it's not too late, you know what I mean. I think it could be seen either way, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the only time I liked her character. I'll leave it, you know.
You know,
She was pretty despicable.
during the scene when they were playing Cult of Personality, I was wondering why that song was chosen. So I did a little research.
Oh yeah, I know because I know that song well, so it made perfect sense to me.
You know, like I know that. Yeah, I love that song, but I was like, why that specific song? And apparently Angela Kang wanted to use a different song, but it was so expensive. But they loved this song because of like Pamela and her cult of personality. And I was like, oh yes.
That's
and then
pretty
the
cool.
record, and then you know, Princess doing the record because you know she worked the record for before. That was her job. I mean, she did it in the Commonwealth too, but prior to that, she was that's what she did. So that
was a nice callback too.
Yeah, there's so many, like, I know there's, Meg, you sent something to us today with so many callbacks that, like, you know, you would miss if you, like, really weren't paying attention.
I've got a notebook full of them. And
yeah.
You know, every time I rewatch a scene, I'm like, oh, does that mean that, you know, you can just keep watching and piecing it together.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously cut through where Tommy is working on Judith. Roth is having a conversation with Lydia, and you know, they kind of partially show her stumpy arm being bandaged up or whatever. She's fearing the loss of Jerry and Elijah. Right?
I was like, Jerry, you mean Elijah?
Yeah. So, well, she mentions both. She mentions Jerry.
Yeah.
What about Jerry? What about Elijah?
Yeah.
And you know,
she thought she killed another one.
She's ridden with guilt, thinking that another one.
You succubus.
So you know, there's all that's going on. You know, because Pamela had pulled resources to the estates, so that's where Tommy is, and all the nurses and doctors and everybody.
Which, by the way, I pointed this out in the pre-show to you guys, but I saw a lot of parallels between that whole scene and the ending of Hunger Games. And so Hunger Games is one of my favorite movie series of all time, and it reminded me a lot of the scene where the President Snow, has all the soldiers fall back to the presidential palace, and he starts to bring like the wealthy people back with him, but then once he realizes that the resistance is getting so close, he then keeps them out of the presidential palace, and at some point they even start taking children, and then you see like essentially like the president bombing, pretending that it's a resistance, and it kind of similar to what Pamela was doing, where she was setting up the hordes to come in and things like that. I just saw a lot of parallels between that, and I thought it was actually really cool because it's like such a pop culture movie franchise. And seeing similarities on the show was cool.
Yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch that now because it's been so long since I've seen it, and I love Hunger Games.
Yeah, even if you just like look it up on YouTube, like you'll see it and you're like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Even like the gates and everything, and like the people reaching through the gates, same feeling.
You know, speaking of gates, with oh god, who was it? Gabriel. His story progression.
Sure.
You know, when we first saw him, he started with locking his people out of the church,
Mm-hmm.
and it's ending with him opening the gates to let the people in. I thought that was such an amazing way to
huge callback. Huge
Yeah,
callback to him.
Yeah.
To let him get that. I think I even tweeted like redemption for Father Gabriel kind of thing. You know, like
Exactly.
that his story coming like full circle on him. You know, which happened a lot for everybody. Right during these scenes is where we have like our biggest conversation talking point between Maggie and Negan, because Negan takes the rifle and he's going to go and execute Pamela. And you know, Maggie wants, like, basically he's like, what is your angle? Like, what do you want out of this? And he basically tells her, look, there's no angle. I'm doing this for you. And, you know, because if like you do this, every like hell's basically going to rain down on you kind of thing. He's like, if I do this, I can just disappear. It doesn't matter. And he finally tells Maggie, he says the words that she's been waiting for a long time. And he tells her he's sorry for everything, for everything he did, for taking away her husband, for taking away, you know, her son's father, everything. So like, you know, that their conversations really help set up their future in this episode, but they did it in a nonchalant way. You know, like they planted these seeds with these conversations with these two, having these scenes together throughout the episode, where, you know, it helps solidify where Maggie sits there and tells Daryl at the end, like, you know, we need to know what's out there. You know, we need to explore whatever and see what's out there and what's going on in other places and everything. So I felt like the conversations that they had throughout the episode really helped set up their future spinoff without mentioning it. You know what I mean? Without like really alluding to anything.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Linda, just so you know, I don't know if you guys in Europe were able to see Talking Dead at all, because I know there's issues with that. But Chandler Riggs was actually brought up on Talking Dead, and he and Angela Kang confirmed that it was Carl, not Carl, it was Chandler in the background wearing Father Gabriel's black hat, and basically he was just on site, he was on scene, you know, he was there visiting, and Angela threw him the hat and said, "Hey, go be in the background." And he's like, "Are you sure?" She goes, "It's the final episode, absolutely." Yeah. So they confirmed that on Talking Dead that it was 100% Chandler in the background.
And he even tweeted, though. He told everybody. He like literally said, "I'm in the last episode."
And everyone's like, "Yeah, okay."
So when it happened, he was like, "See, I told you so."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so sorry you guys couldn't see it, Talking Dead. That was, I mean, it was a really good Talking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Just going through here, making sure we're all caught up.
I will say, though, even though we didn't get to see her in the finale, I'm glad, like, Angela Kang kind of confirmed, like, why we didn't see Annie in the finale, even though she was mentioned. Like, between the script being so big, COVID, Norman getting injured, they just couldn't schedule her scenes to get filmed.
Yeah.
But she did say, though, Annie was always meant to survive the season, as there's several versions that would have led into Negan's spinoff and involved Annie. So that confirms that Annie is somehow involved, that she is going to appear somehow in Dead City. And I am very curious to see how they pull that off.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a time jump in that one for sure, because Angela's already teased that, and I think they cast a young girl, and I wonder if that's their child, and that's how it has to be.
So like, we can't have them
because she looks like she could be maybe 10 even or so. I mean, it's, you know, it's not a little girl.
That's a long time jump.
I'm sorry.
That's a long time jump then.
And I could be completely off base. It was just when they showed that
picture,
I was like, that my brain just started like, oh, wonder. And then when Angela Kang started talking about teasing some of these, that these spin-offs aren't going to be immediately following the flagship ending. It's going to there's going to be random times or whatever, that kind of stuff. So then I was like, but that it is a substantial time jump. So who knows? But
yeah, well, some people are saying I would hope to see Annie appear in it and everything. Somebody said something else. I think with the damn chat rooms over again.
Oh yeah, Judith was a huge time jump.
Yeah, Judith was. Yeah,
that was a huge time jump. That's probably the biggest time jump they've had, right?
So 6 years.
Yeah, for her. Yeah. Yeah. Chrissy says, unpopular opinion, I'm not a fan of Annie. I like the actress, but not the character. The character is just blah.
Agreed.
Yeah, she hasn't had any time to
Yeah.
shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've only seen her as a damsel in distress, basically. we haven't really seen her capabilities, you know.
Yeah. The callback, the dinner scene is a callback to episode 701. Linda said. Yeah. I mean, there was a ton of callbacks, just a ton. So let's dive into Eugene and Rosita, because I know this is something that you touched on in the pre-show and everything. Eugene being his typical self, he fishing, you know what I mean? In their conversation, he was just kind of asking questions and fishing for answers, and until
I like the way you phrase that.
What's that?
Fishing. I've never really heard anyone you say it that way. I like that.
Yeah, because it's kind of like what you do in like law enforcement and stuff. You ask questions and you fish for answers.
Leading questions.
Yeah, leading questions and fish for the answers.
Yeah.
And it's, he's obviously, we all know he's very intelligent, and he was able to catch on to certain answers that she was not giving.
And the way that she was kind of like disconnected.
Right, very disconnected from the things he was saying about the summertime, about how much he loves the summertime, and can't wait for the summer and everything. Just and her just gazing.
He's like, "What about you?"
Yeah,
and she doesn't answer, and he's like,
Yeah, she looks at him, and she's got the tear come down, and that's when we all find out. That whole fall with her really brought me back to Glenn being trapped under a dumpster.
We mentioned that in the chat, and today is the whatever anniversary of that episode.
Yeah, so it's like
we found out that he went under the dumpster.
Yeah, so like that literally like brought me to that where we all thought Glenn was dead or he had gotten bit or whatever. And and like I immediately said, like in my head, I'm like, man, if she survives, like she survived that, like without a scratch. You're on your back, you pull your gun, you get all that shot, you jump up in the air, you start doing whatever. But we find out she got bit, and she got bit on her back of her shoulder, like back here somewhere, trap area on her back.
Yep.
And can't cut that off and make it better. So we lost a good one there, But she's outlived her comic book character arc by
a lot,
freaking leaps and bounds.
Yeah, especially because like we said before, she was supposed to live.
Yeah,
and Kirsten Serratos is the one who wanted her to die.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, I think it was a great way for her to go out. And
yeah.
That scene was rough.
Yeah, it was.
What's up, Dustin?
The bed.
Let me throw you a spin here. So Rosita was very adamant about hiding this, not telling anyone, keeping it a secret. What if Eugene didn't fish? Or what if he didn't go that path? What did she do? To me, I think she goes off by herself and kind of handles her business.
Yeah.
Not to have everybody know what went on.
Yeah.
I would leave a note or something.
Right. Yeah. I'd probably,
I mean, why do you keep it from everybody that you love that long? Because you know that you're dying.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's kind of a selfish thing to do, to not tell everybody as long as you waited.
Yeah.
So what was her purpose until he started asking her that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, I'm glad they handled it the way they did with her death, and not drag it out as long as they did with Carl. Carl felt like he was dying for years, and hers was just very, very peaceful.
Right.
It was handled very classy.
Yeah, you're right. They really made
classy as you can handle death.
They did make the Carl one really long and painful.
Well, one thing that bothered me though was having Coco in the bed with her. And now I get, saying goodbye to her, I get it. But we also have known from over the course of The Walking Dead that the time it takes somebody to turn, it varies wildly. I mean, we've seen people turn in days, and we've seen people turn in minutes. So why take the chance?
Yeah. Well,
I thought it was the angrier they were, the faster they turned. Like, that's why Shane turned, like, how, bad of a person they were, they turned quickly.
Really?
And then like, yeah.
I don't know. That's a good way to think about it.
Like that's why like Shane turned like instantly, and then you saw someone like Andrea didn't turn till like not Andrea, Amy didn't turn till like the next day.
It's an interesting spin. I never heard that.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
It's a good way to think about it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting turned before I ever get bit.
Oh man.
Dustin gets bit, he just crumples. All of a sudden, he's suddenly standing up now.
Yeah. I'm going to take a moment right here to say to everybody, if you haven't already hit the like button, please like and subscribe for us, especially if you like what you're listening to right now. And you like what you're seeing, too, because it's not only our voices tantalize you, but you have these wonderful faces to look at as well. And Dustin will blow you kisses. So shots are fired.
Literally.
Yeah. Mercer goes running with binoculars to check out what's going on and sees the guards are shooting actual live persons, not walkers crawling up a building. Up the gate. But he says that they're shooting the people trying to get in.
Oh, and finally he's going to do something. Finally. I can't stand back and do nothing. You did it for the entire season, buddy. You saw the bad shit happening and you still sat there and did nothing.
Yeah. You know what's crazy to me though, in this melee of people, Jerry's in there, and so is oh my god, Elijah. Yeah, they're both in this crowd of people. Wouldn't you push your way to the front to say like, hey, we're part of this crew, can you let us in? We're family. No, we don't. It's not until after Father Gabriel gets his redemption that we get to let him in, and then they're reunited. It's a little whatever, but to know that those two are lingering in that whole crowd and stuff, and none of them can make it to the front of the gate, it is what it is. The greatest part, though, for me in this whole sequence, besides the awesome explosion, was Mercer putting Pamela under arrest and, basically telling her, you are the problem. Like, you're the one who caused this. This is you. And it just, to me, was a very, very powerful moment for him. Him basically saying, you're the traitor, not me, because she calls him a traitor. And then saying, like, you've disappointed every one of these people. Like, you're just trying to save yourself, basically. He said, and you shot a child, which I thought was like, I was like, ooh, yeah, take the knife and twist it. Get in there. And the whole time, you can kind of see them leading up to Gabriel, because he keeps, out of all the people they show him, and he keeps looking at all the people at the gate. Mm-hmm. So, like, it gave you that feeling that if somebody was going to do something, it was going to be him, because the camera would pan back and forth to him, look, and then Daryl basically steps in and says, like, what are you doing here? Like, you can't treat people like this. This isn't how you save the world or anything. And he says we aren't the Walking Dead. So, which I thought was like really just some very good dialogue and like this whole thing,
It's Daryl.
Yeah, we ain't. Sorry, yeah, we ain't.
We ain't the Walking Dead.
That was only the second time they ever said those words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm glad they said it then.
And what I do love too is the fact that he so perfectly said that we have one enemy. And it's not each other. You know what I mean? Like he was like, he brought it like Dustin said, we brought it right back to the living versus the dead. And that's what The Walking Dead was all about from the very beginning. And then we got away from it, and it was, what was it? What was it? Fight the dead, fear the living, right? Yeah. I mean, and now we're back to, fight and fear the dead. You know what I mean? That's where we are. And that was such a cool way of bringing it full circle again.
Yeah. Nice badass moment though for Gabriel, as he's walking towards the gate to say, anybody who stops me, I'm gonna shoot to kill, basically.
I don't remember who it was, but somebody, please give yourself credit in chat, made a parallel to Gabriel being the one to open the gate.
Yeah,
and with the church.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. I missed that part because I was reading the chat. My bad.
Yeah,
I was reading the chat, so I missed that part. But
yeah, they mentioned the chat also. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Which was
Can I give
so
myself
cool.
credit in the chat?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, Linda said it too. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I was gonna say I thought I read it there too, but I knew Meg said it.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat too, so I'm spaced out.
Yeah.
I'm not used to like this much conversation,
Yeah, this is wild.
which I'm happy about. I mean, thank you for being here, guys.
Family, after all.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover in this episode.
It is.
There is. And
but no, it was wonderful because he was, you go back and think about him on that rock yelling for help, and then you find out what a dirtbag he is, trying to act like he's all devout and everything, and then you're like, you're just a dirtbag, and yeah, so it was so good to see that. It was such a, spin around for him.
I think that so many characters, whether major or minor in this episode, had such great redemptions. I mean, I think that Negan had a great redemption with Maggie. I mean, that was so cool to see. Like, she literally said, like, I can't forget and I won't forgive you, and I'm hurting, but I'm willing to understand and respect what you have done. Like, you saved my son, and that I won't forget either. You have everything Eugene did, right? I mean, you talk about a character who made a complete 180. I mean, Eugene probably had the biggest growth of any character on the show. I don't care what you say. He went from being this dastardly coward who literally lied about having the secret to the friggin' cure for the virus just to stay alive, and he was quite literally willing to sacrifice his own life, consequences be damned, to save everybody else. I mean, he said, you know what? He goes, they want my head. I'm going to give it to them, basically, and he stepped up to the plate big time. He was a huge part of rescuing the kids. Then you talk about Father Gabriel, again, a complete 180. He was this cowardly man who hid behind the collar, so to speak. And, he all of a sudden became this total badass who was willing to protect his family. And that didn't just include Rosita and Coco. That was, his extended family. Everybody just had these great redemptions and great character developments. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Pie.
Pie. I missed it, so
Pie goes, should we talk slower? Nicole, Gabriel got a little something and changed his mindset.
Yeah, I mean, he did have, he did turn into a badass right there.
I know.
To open those gates.
Made him a man.
It was great to see them, with Jerry and Elijah, be brought back to the group, and then obviously the first, Jerry's very distraught and he wants to know where his family is. He's yelling for Nabila and everything, and Ezekiel's telling him like she's fine, they're safe, they're back at Alexandria. So it's nice to see that the whole gang's reunited again, because this is where things get heated up.
A little dicey.
They get heated up.
It did break my heart when Jerry was like, Nabila, where's Nabila? Is she okay? And I was like, just knowing Cooper and Nadine, like just knowing the people they are, I'm like, that's not only their characters, that's them talking.
Sure.
And I felt it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
In the chat, Linda asked, what about Oceanside?
Mm.
That's actually what grinded my guts.
Huh?
I have been researching this for 2 days. Okay, they never explained if Cindy and Rachel made it out. Okay, Luke says Oceanside's gone. We never saw it fall.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if they made it. I have been Googling, even going on Reddit, and I hate Reddit. And I can't figure out they're alive. And I'm so mad. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't say it fell. He just said that Luke said that the Commonwealth took over.
Yeah.
And that Rachel had told them not to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So they did talk to Rachel at some point. So at that, sometime in there before they met up with Aaron and them, they did talk to Rachel. She was still alive at that point, but she told them to stay away from Oceanside. So whether she was, I don't know how that interaction happened, but she did tell them it was a mess and to stay away. So, I mean, it's not good closure at all, but
Yeah.
they did close it and it fell. They said that so I imagine it was like Alexandria with, the Commonwealth taking it over. And yeah.
And this goes to Chris's point, Pie. Not all loose ends got tied, and there wasn't enough time. There absolutely was not enough time. I mean, run time, we got an hour and 15 minutes. 7 minutes?
An hour and 7 minutes.
7 minutes. I mean, for a series finale of a show of this impact, I mean, run time should have been at least an hour 20.
They said an hour 30. They
No, that was with commercial.
Oh, with commercials?
The run time is hour 7.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, I mean,
never count
this is almost where I agree with Chris. there should have been additional episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there should have been a whole new season. I think that would have been a lot. But I mean, you do another four episodes maybe, and you have an entire episode devoted to them trying to liberate Commonwealth and find out what's going on with the Commonwealth. Either they get there and it's scorched earth. Okay, you know what? Loose end is tied. I don't care. That it would have been great just to know that. And now it's like it wasn't. You see Luke and what's her name?
Jules?
Jules, thank you. You see them, and that's like the first thing we've heard about Oceanside in a long time. And then that's it. That's like the last thing we heard about Oceanside. Like, it just, to me, it didn't sit right, especially for being a community that was so important once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge part of the Savior War.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for the sake of things, you gave us, what, 6, 8 episodes or whatever on a red-handled machete.
Mm-hmm.
Kept showing. You can give me some background so that I have peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need closure in therapy.
I like that. That's true. They were able to do those. They did I don't know, one was with an airplane crash, and then the other one was the
submarine.
Then they had the machete.
They're amazing. Yeah. There's so many good ones. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that, Dustin, but that would be phenomenal. You know, a 6 or 8 episode webisode thing, whatever, and have it be the Commonwealth and them fighting back and them succeeding just by pure grit alone. They fight back against the Commonwealth soldiers that are there, and then they walk. They said, you know what, screw it, let's go see what's going on in the Commonwealth. Let's help our friends out. And they get there, and it could be after the final episode. And then it's just, you know, maybe, I don't know, Maggie or Ezekiel meeting them at the gate and going, I'm glad you guys are okay. Come home, you're welcome home.
Mm-hmm.
And then have them open the gates, and that's how it ends. You know what I mean? That would be phenomenal, just to be like, hey, you guys are home. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I wanted to know, you know, we placed Pamela under arrest, but then we let her walk away towards the gate, towards Lance, because she sees Lance as a walker. You know, it's like stuff like that. Like, what if you just placed a woman under arrest, why are we letting her walk around free? You know, she should have been cuffed and stuffed by then, not, you know, being able to walk up to the gate.
Like she would have gotten very far, though.
Well, I mean, you're letting her walk to the gate so she can off herself now. You know what I mean? Like, she basically was trying to let Lance take the final bite, the final blow. So she didn't have to suffer, I guess, you know, in her mind, she'd be locked up or whatever. And that's another thing we didn't see either in the 1 year time jump. We didn't get to see her still in jail, you know, like, or whatever, what she looked like or what she was doing while locked up in jail. But that's neither here or there.
I kind of wanted to see her look all decrepit.
Yeah, like, you know, grown out, kind of scraggly looking. Yeah. Unwashed hair.
No pedicure.
Yeah.
Long nails, you know, just the...
Yeah.
Broken from scratch at the wall.
Sure.
Even just like a slow panning shot at the end.
Yeah.
They were kind of showing the slow shot.
Just locked up in prison. Yeah.
Yep.
Just, you know, a piece of bread with some cat food.
We were talking about the time jump. You know, I think it was a couple weeks ago or something, Kari Payton said he wasn't happy with how his story ended.
Yeah,
right? But now that we saw it, I can't help but wonder if that was a lure to let people think that maybe he was going to die, because I can't imagine anyone else taking the role as governor.
That's what somebody said. That they were so glad he was excellent, and they said he's king again. I said exactly how he should be.
The perfect choice. Now I'm like super curious. Like, and next time I see him, I'm going to ask him. I am dying to know. Like, yo, what the hell?
You know what would have been great too, though, and this is just coming from like a writer's standpoint. I'm sure you can appreciate this, but like you guys can, but. Like when Ezekiel was having a speech, just having Jerry up front against the stage with like a security shirt on would have been hysterical to me. I don't know why, but I thought that would just be phenomenal. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, the King's got his night again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They during Talking Dead, I know not a lot of people got to see it. When they were talking about Mercer being up on stage with Ezekiel, and he's like, because like, you know, Mercer's colors were orange, you know, orange and black uniform. And Ezekiel made a comment about Jerry, or no, Sheba. It's like, oh, it's just another black and orange thing up on stage with me. And I was like,
damn. Wow, that fucked me up. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I remember as soon as he said it, I literally had to pause and rewind it. And then I was like, okay, I got to mention this in the show.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm all about the whole, like, Ezekiel and Mercer, like I want to do an Ezekiel Mercer spinoff, man.
Mhm.
Oh my god, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That team up.
Yeah.
Give us what we want.
And you know,
Episode.
it's funny having met MJS and having like Chris and I really good conversations with him, and just like seeing him interact as a person. I could totally see like when he was like, and two brothers running the Commonwealth, you know, like and just hearing him say that, I'm like, MJS would have said that 100%. That like he
Yeah.
is Mercer, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's and I mean his plan. Let's face it, his plan. I have to give him kudos for the plan that he put in place for this whole thing. Is very. It's pretty well thought out. I mean, dumping the fuel down into the drainage systems so that it travels with the water and
Smart, yeah.
goes the
To the
whole
sewage system.
the perimeter of the
Yep.
sewage system, which is obviously linked to all the estates and everything around. And setting off that that explosion that takes out looks like every walker in the area, and then the blast from everything around it, sending shrapnel and
seeing the walkers on fire and like
Yeah.
falling apart was just really cool to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his plan was pretty legit, I gotta say. I mean, Dustin, I know once again I'm gonna go to you because and I know you've been in a lot of natural disaster stuff because you it's just part of your background and what you do and everything. But aside from that, from like a tactical standpoint, like dumping the fuel into it, the sewage treatment drainages and everything like that, so it circulates, travels, it'll float around through anywhere where there's water, it'll go. And then to have that blow like that, pretty realistic in my opinion.
It is. I would have a concern about being kind of in the middle of it because you don't know with all the natural gases and things what it could do with the puff back and everything. But
Right.
For theatrical purposes, I mean, yes, it could work, and it did.
Yeah.
No, I think it was. I mean, it was definitely. I don't know, having even been there with the experience, I would have thought about that.
Right.
So I'm glad that whoever did put that in there, it was like,
Yeah, it was a pretty good writing and pretty good idea on how to like solidify this ending as far as the threat with this. You got another glimpse at if you notice, you got another glimpse at when Elijah is putting the speaker on top of the fuel barrel and tying the fuses together and everything like that. They show a walker spin and turn, and that very first walker they show right after Elijah spin and turn is Oscar. So I want to throw a little shout out.
Is it really?
Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't see that. That's cool.
yeah. A little shout out to Oscar there for that, making it on scene again.
Again,
Um,
it's gonna start getting to his head.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. I'll have
You're
to.
gonna have to order a bigger hat.
We'll have to. We'll have to widen all the doors. But yeah, no, that's very cool for him, and obviously we're very proud of him. We get Max gets to use her old call sign on the radio as Blue Weevil again.
That was cool to see.
That was cool.
So they got to do that, which is it was pretty cool. And even like the explosion effects that take place, with this explosion. Because we all know that they do a lot of live pyro on set, and when Alexandria, got blown up and everything like that, everything like those, a lot of those explosions, they do a lot of live explosions on set. It's not, most of it obviously is CGI, but some of it is real. You know what I mean? They do blow up a lot of shit on the show. They've been doing it for a while. But I thought all the CGI effect and everything like that with the whatever skin's left on the walkers peeling off their bodies, that incineration effect, the blast back, that whole like I don't know, that sonic boom of like the explosion kind of blowing through everything.
Seeing the one walker walking and like seeing his body turn to ash was pretty cool too. And the way he collapsed was pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a lot of.
Fear the Walking Dead.
A little bit. Yeah,
Mhm.
a little bit. I could see that. But then I like.
So that was Oscar?
Yeah, I just
That's
like,
so
I
cool.
like the pan back they do too to show the amount of destruction that blast did, because it really wipes out everything in that area. And then, we have Pamela who's in her cell with probably two of the people that she
Hates the most.
hates the most, and doesn't, wishes that she could replace with anybody else, but Daryl and Carol. It just seems like those two are always, like in this episode, we're always just at the right time, right place kind of thing.
I did love Carol's comment where she's like, "At least we don't have to worry about who gets your house."
Yeah.
It's like, damn, Carol.
Yeah.
All right, Jesus Christ, just kill her now. Why don't you? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
That was the death blow right there.
Yeah.
When they were filming the scenes of the estates, I think I've mentioned this on the show before. When I was going to Sonoy and I saw like where they were filming,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize till we watched the episode it was the estates that I saw.
Oh, cool.
And
Okay.
now I know where they are. So next time I'm down in Sonoy, I want to like drive through and like see if I can find like Pamela's house. And it's just cool. Like when you see like the walkers walking up like the field towards the gate, I was like, I know that spot. I know those gates. Like I need to like see it again. It was really cool.
Yeah, I've been downtown a few times, obviously, where they filmed and just saw the gates and stuff. I've never gotten an opportunity to do a tour or anything, so I missed out on all that kind of stuff every time I went down there. But it's always nice to
Take
see.
you to Alexandria next time because I went to Carol's house.
Oh wow, okay. A lot of those are for sale right now, right?
Carol and Rick's house is for sale. Apparently you could have walked through Rick's house. I didn't know that. Because there was a private property sign, so I didn't want to trespass by going inside, but I know people that did.
Okay.
So I just took I put my phone up to the glass and I was kind of like taking pictures that way of the inside. But it was so cool, like sitting on Carol's steps and like knowing like Melissa sat here. It was so cool. I'll show you guys the pictures afterwards. But
I think the cheapest house was maybe about $600,000, but the townhouses, which are, if you've seen the listing, the insides of these are insane. They're gorgeous. They're like 1.3 or $1.5 million for the townhouse. But they're 4 floors. You got an up top porch and like patio thing. I mean, they're gorgeous, but wow, that's a hefty price tag.
Yeah, I don't see that
I
happening.
stood where the windmill was. And I'm just looking around. I was like, it feels so naked. And I sent you guys the videos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so like it doesn't feel the same. Like I was happy that that we got to walk through it, but at the same time, it didn't feel as special.
Yeah.
Because the gates weren't up, or the walls weren't up, and it was just a regular neighborhood. So I was just like, oh. So I think I'm gonna rewatch season 5 when we're really introduced to Alexandria, and then go back and be like, okay, I feel like it'll be better.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I now know what I'm doing if I win the lottery.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying one of those houses. I'm not buying a townhouse for 1.2. I'll buy a house.
No, but that'll be my winter house.
Oh, the winter house.
Yeah,
I got you.
I'll spend the winter months down there with Meg and Renee and soon to be Meg.
Right.
That way I can see you guys.
Okay.
But yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
As long as a summer place.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
No, that's winter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be down there for
winter.
the warmer.
Yeah. My bad.
New York's not that bad.
It's really cold down there, we'll say.
It's pretty cold
so much
up
ice
there.
in it.
Like just even a 3-hour drive, it was crazy how cold it was in Covington, and then to come home, I was like, "Whoa, that's a drastic change." But
yeah, it was after the event ended, I got back in my car and it was like 28.
There was
also like 10:30 at night.
Yeah,
it was not fun.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures. I think I saw Mitchell, who was in a picture because he went down to gate 22 there, post 22, and everybody was bundled up pretty good. So I was like, oh, it must be cold. So
okay, speaking of Outpost 22, I am so mad where they put it. So in Sonoya is the episode JSS, like where Enid and her parents are, where like their parents died. They put it right next to it. So if you try to get a shot of the JSS wall, you're going to see the outpost. They should have put it a little further down the road.
Yeah.
I am so mad at its placement, but it does look really badass. But I'm still so mad at its placement.
Now, is that stuff staying up or is that coming down too?
Oh, that is... Well, the wall has been there for years. That wall was meant to stay.
Okay.
But the outpost, it looks pretty cement. It looks... I think it's
they did that for the Walking Dead fans. They're still going to come to Sonoy to see everything.
Sure.
And have a spot to take a picture. So.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It's got to be like 10 feet tall, probably 8 or 12 feet tall. It was massive.
Well, it's the gates. I mean, that's what it was. It was the gate, into there.
When in March, when we were down there, they had a piece of wood covering the door. So all my friends and I were trying to peel it back a little bit and see. Then the next day we went down there and we found out the wall, that sign fell down. So you saw what it said, and we're like, did we do that? We wouldn't go near it. We felt so guilty. It turned out we didn't do it, but
Meg's like, I don't want to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had it covered up for quite a while, but when they had the camp in May, they had taken it down, I think, because they knew the fans would be there to take pictures and all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's a smart move on their part.
Yeah.
Couple cool little things that happened in the passing scenes. You had obviously the celebratory dinner. Negan throws away his Whisperer mask. I don't know where he throws it. You just see him heave it and throw it. He gets rid of it. So I guess he's never see him with that again.
No, maybe it's the writer in me, but I took that. This is how I perceived it. Was that Negan was finally ready to be his true self, and getting rid of that mask was his final I'm going to be true to who I am, and I'm done hiding who I am, and that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Especially with his scene with Maggie and her, saying, "Look, I don't forgive you. I don't forget what you did.
Right.
But I understand and respect and appreciate what you have done for us since then."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, saying that him and Annie are welcome to stay and everything. So
yeah.
Once again, like I mentioned earlier, those conversations that take place throughout this episode with them help align everything that's coming.
Well, that conversation about Glenn was from the comics.
Yeah.
They had that conversation straight from the comics.
Okay.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Where she's describing, his eyes.
Right. Yeah, his voice, hearing him.
And then I see you smile. Right. That was all from the comics.
The dinner is a throwback. We mentioned that too. The dinner is a throwback to 701. And then, during that dinner, Rosita's sitting and Gabe goes and sits down next to her. And, he's just being happy about, I guess the moment and everything. And she leans over and whispers in his ear and tells him, I'm bit and I'm dying kind of thing. I'm imagining because, you don't know what's said, but I can't really see what else it would have been because then his whole expression changes. I said it about JDM and I'll say it about Seth as well. Being able to hit that emotion, you know what I mean? And then have that really show on your, the wear on you kind of thing. And then you also see Judith is kind of off to the side somewhere, but she sees this happen and catches on very quickly. I'm assuming that, she knew exactly what was happening and, what's going on in that moment. And then, we say goodbye to Rosita. She lays down with Coco and everybody kind of takes their turn talking to her, saying goodbye and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, sad to see her go. Comic book wise, like I said, she should have been dead a long time ago. But she gets to go out. I guess you want to say the way she wanted to. She got
on her own terms,
call her own shots on this and go out how she wanted. You get a prayer by Gabe and everything the way it should be. I don't like how she just kind of fades off. You know what I mean? She's just laying there and it's just she just kind of went to sleep. You know what I mean? I would have maybe it would have been more real for me personally, if she would have closed her eyes and then maybe you slowly saw the veins turning blue or something, some kind of transformation happening, before.
Due to time, they couldn't maybe?
Yeah, I'm sure. Once again, I know a lot of this was cut short because of time restraint, but, I feel I don't know, just to make it more realistic, as she's talking to Eugene and everything, and she takes those last breaths, it's just to see some kind of, the infection kind of run its course, kind of through her up to her head where we know that things are going to happen.
That would have been a nice callback to the CDC episode.
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
but we just get a big blubbering emotional Eugene, which is fine. I'll forgive him. I'll forgive him.
He deserved it.
But can you at least admit
What?
that he has grown more than any other character?
Not more than any other, but
Yeah, I can't say that.
immensely.
I honestly, I think he's grown more than any. What would you say? What other character has grown more than him?
Carol.
And Daryl.
Not Daryl. Bullshit Daryl.
Daryl. He's
What?
become a leader. Daryl even had. He's the one who, like, at the
Daryl
very end,
He
gets like.
couldn't do anything more than grunt until 2 episodes ago.
It's not true. He's
Dude.
been leading the way ever since Rick
Oh,
left.
honey, we gotta teach
I
you
will
math.
fight you,
No.
and you know I will fight
I know you will. That's a hot take, and I don't care.
It's all right. I said my hot take before the show, so it's okay. I respect yours, but man.
I'm not saying Eugene hasn't grown immensely since we first met him, but I don't think the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Immense.
I still think he's a giant grown baby, but hey, what are you gonna do?
we all have characters we hate, so that's just how it is.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, so they go from like her death scene to like, hey, 1 year ahead. I'm like, okay.
Let me throw the word curveball on the death scene in a second.
Yeah.
You know, if you go back to Eugene, I think he was trying to, with the Savior's compound, and he was working with the girl, trying to tell him how much of his, medicine or what he had to give to Negan. I'm thinking because Eugene was at the end, did he give her something? Did they have a side talk? You see what I'm saying? I go down the rabbit hole sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
That's,
I
yeah.
go really down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, because the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's going to give her something. He's going to do something, Because you're right, we didn't see her make that transformation.
Right.
So is that symbolic of that, or is just
little Eugene elixir.
Actually, Dustin, who do you think had the biggest character growth? Or one of the characters that had the biggest character growth?
I'm going to, of course, everybody always says Carol, so let's set her to the side. I'm going to go with Father Gabriel because because if you think about it, he's a leader as a pastor. And even being that, he's very timid and very scared. And how do you even be a pastor if you're that way? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, he didn't even fit the role that he was in the normal world. Now you throw him into the apocalypse, and he's definitely not fitting that role. So to see him come full circle and be what he was, even going back to Alexandria when Rick went out to, clear the zombies after Carl was shot, he's the first one outside. So he's putting himself there. I think in a lot of ways, Eugene witnessed a lot of that too. I think that led a lot of other characters to saying, hey, if the pastor can go, we can go.
Right.
That was a really good mention.
Yeah. And I mean, and like you said, well, you went down the rabbit hole, but like, honestly, I completely forgot about Eugene doing that until you just brought it up again. So possibly, could he have given her something to take the edge off, so to speak? Yeah, 100%. He definitely could have. Kind of like just a sedative to put her out before she went out, kind of thing. So yeah, that's a good call. But like I said, you go right from her death scene, we jump 1 year ahead. Eugene has apparently been able to figure out where the pee-pee goes, and we have a baby.
Baby Rosie. That's adorable.
Baby Rosie.
Cute.
Eugene, you figured it out, man. You finally did it.
Literally did it.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
He was with fake Stephanie.
You're gonna do it.
He was sleeping with fake Stephanie first.
Fake Stephanie, yeah. Ooh, good thing. Yeah, and where'd they all go?
Well, Calhoun was killed. The guy, that's the
Well,
Walker.
Calhoun he was killed, but fake Stephanie we never saw dead.
I bet she's dead too. I'm sure she's
Yeah.
dead too.
Mitchell, he's no longer the 45-year-old virgin.
He finally got some.
Yeah, and then we have, we spoke about this, but we have Mercer and Ezekiel. Ezekiel taking over as the new governor, and giving one of his great Ezekiel speeches that he does, which is like basically, that's like his call signs, like bring Ezekiel. It's time for a speech. He kind of took over from Rick from doing that.
Yeah,
like Rick always used to have like these.
Yeah.
Rick speeches, Rickisms and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, now we have Ezekiel and Mercer who are going to be running I guess Commonwealth or the Alexandria is going to be ran by Maggie, and we don't know about Oceanside or anywhere else, but we do know that it'll be at least the Commonwealth and Alexandria existing in what we have going here. Daryl makes his rounds, so to speak. He starts with Connie and saying goodbye to her, basically. We do have that cool little. We have Lydia, who brings Judith the compass.
Oh yeah,
with her initials on it from Negan.
That was great.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Saying that it's helped me find my way.
Because she told him that. That's what she said to him. She goes, "You can keep it. It'll help you find your way."
Yeah.
So then
So I thought that was actually very cool as well. I gotta say, like, in the ending scenes here, obviously happy to see like everyone together again, like
Jerry and Nabil.
Yeah, Jerry
Very
and
happy
Nabil.
with that.
Yeah, he's not leaving to go do something for once, and he can be with.
He
his
can actually
kids.
be a dad now, a husband.
He can be a home daddy.
I told that to
We
Cooper
have to
at the
go for a
camp.
pack of cigarettes.
Yeah,
I told Cooper at the camp. I was like, no offense, but Jerry's kind of a deadbeat dad.
yeah.
I was like, I get he's protecting everybody. I'm like, but he's non-existent right now. I'm like, Nabil is like a single mom.
Yeah, basically, I'm raising all these kids without you. What we have everybody kind of coming together, and then you have Carol and Daryl basically alone by a river or pond, I think it is. And
How many Carol and Daryl fans thought they were going to kiss?
Man, right?
Oh, man.
No.
Listen, I almost fell head first over a couch. I'm carrying my little pizza roll things or whatever through there, and I'm like, kind of looking back and watching, and I'm like, are they going to kiss?
Yeah.
It's like face paint.
No, I never thought that.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna kiss.
Yeah. There's a nice little thing. I mean, he says, "I wish you were coming with me."
Mm-hmm.
So.
And she's like, no, I think she said it. I wish I was going with you.
Oh, does she? Yeah, yeah. And he says,
I
"I know."
thought she said it because I was like, what a great thing because she's unable to do the spinoff with him. So that was kind of like this little, of course she's talking in the show, but we all know she's also talking about the series. And so, yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that it wasn't Daryl and Carol. It was Melissa and Norman talking.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
It made it so beautiful.
Right.
And they even said that on Talking Dead when they talked, and I think Melissa McBride said it, and she goes, that wasn't only Carol talking to Daryl. She was like, that was me, Melissa, talking to Norman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like she's like, he's been such a huge part of my life, and I'm so close to him personally that it was like kind of like our goodbye for the show. We're not going to see each other every day now. It's going to be every once in a while, and that was cool for her to see, or for her to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he does say it's not like we're never going to see each other again.
Yeah.
So,
Well, especially because she said that she wasn't opposed to making appearances on the show,
Right.
On the Daryl Dixon show, because she was originally supposed to be on the show with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that she couldn't commit to being in France for that length of, for moving her
I think
life.
her father's sick. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think her dad's sick is what they've said. So that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Plus, she's been filming for 12 years.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure some of these actors who have been on the show for that long are looking for a break. Norman just seems to love work, but that's okay.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
Well, that's all Diane does too. The both of them. I don't
Right.
know how they raise their kid.
Yeah.
They're both busy all the time.
I do love, like Judith, or him calling Judith little ass kicker, and she was like, big ass
that was
kicker.
nice.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Because somebody pointed out she wouldn't even know what that meant, because she was an infant when he said it, and I thought, to me it just like I didn't put it together quick enough, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, so she's just responding like, okay, big ass.
Yeah, like she was confused, like, all right, if I'm little, you're big, like
That's
what?
our new thing now.
Yeah, and for him, it's like this is like what 10 years in the making. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
And
it was great.
It's like, oh shit, here's another nickname.
And it makes me wonder though. It makes me wonder though too with everything that he's going to be doing. He says goodbye to RJ and to Judith, and Judith says, you're allowed to be happy too.
Yeah, you deserve to be.
You
happy.
deserve to be
Happy
happy too. Yeah, just a happy ending, and he tells her, "I'll be back." So like to me, maybe there's the slimmest little glimmer of hope that maybe somewhere in his series, I don't know that Judith will somehow reappear somewhere somehow, or he'll
Well,
return home. Who knows?
Several, like almost all the interviews he's recently done on, Jimmy Kimmel or different things like that. He just keeps teasing. You will not know what familiar faces are going to pop up.
Mhm.
So I'm sure there are plans to somebody be there with him.
Yeah.
I hope they do a better job of keeping things under wraps than they did with this series finale. I will say that.
And I know, Renee, you mentioned about Greg Nicotero making 2 appearances.
Like Greg Zombie.
Yeah, I love that so much. I was watching. Well, so the cinematographer had posted Daryl's last ride the day of filming. He posted Daryl driving down. I was so emotional that day. I mean, it was like I was going to see this for how many months down the road. So I knew that scene was coming, and when he came around thing, and then here comes that with the striped shirt. I was like, oh, it's Greg, and everybody knew that Greg was going to be a walker in the series or in the episode because he shared that, and he also directed it. Yep. And then it reminded me that he was Daryl's first kill. So when Daryl the first introduction to Daryl, he's like, son of a bitch, and he walks out, he's kicking that walker, he's screaming and yelling obscenities at that was Greg Nicotero as well. So I thought it was so fitting that he was in Daryl's first scene and he was in Daryl's last scene. So I thought that was super cool, just because the bond they have also, outside of work and things. So yeah, it was super cool.
My only critique was that if I was a walker in that situation, I would have grabbed for Daryl, and obviously missed because he's on a motorcycle. But Greg's walker just kind of looks at him and he rides off, and I expected like this and kind of missing because he's on a motorcycle, but that didn't hapen.
Yeah,
maybe he wasn't a variant walker. He could have just been a regular walker that was just dumb as shit.
But I mean, I would even say the regular walkers would have reached for him.
Maybe it was just kind of his nod to.
Maybe he was a variant walker and he just didn't have much brain function left. He was just shambling, at that point.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the ending.
You got this, right? I'm gonna go home. I'm just kidding.
I mean, look, I'm okay with what they did because I know that the masses wanted it. They wanted to see Michonne. They wanted to see Rick. Linda wanted to see Rick, apparently. Renee, you probably broke this down and explained it the best in the pre-show.
Yes.
So just so everybody out there understands, because there might be some people who did not understand what they were seeing in the 2 timelines of Michonne and Rick. So I'm going to hand it over to you because you did an excellent job breaking it down for us. So just like I said, and just in case for people out there who might have thought that this was something that it wasn't, and you can really explain what it was.
Yeah, sure. So when we see this, of course, a lot of us were excited to see Rick. I personally was excited. I was very vocal about thinking we're not going to see Rick. I had said that numerous times because especially once they announced the spin-off, I thought, why would they even put him in this? But I was super happy they did. So what this is them both going about their tasks, and he's writing a letter to Michonne. She's writing in her journal for Judith and RJ. And then we see, I guess first it was lighting the fire, then they were writing the notes, and then they were just going about these tasks. And then at one point you almost feel, oh wait, are they together? And then that pans out and you see he has the boots and you see she has the boots. So that's when you realize they're not in the same timelines. Mm-hmm. So Michonne's is in the present day and his is before Michonne found the evidence that he survived.
Right.
So, it was such a cool way to do this, to show she's still searching, and everybody's questions about why hasn't Rick come? He's been trying. He's tried to escape. Who knows how many times he's tried to escape and been recaptured. So everybody, because that was always kind of a thing with him. Why wouldn't he try to get back? He has been trying, So that's what I thought was super cool about it. And another cool thing that people said was Rick was he killed the first walker and then he killed the last walker in the series. So that was super cool. Mm-hmm. But so the whole thing, as soon as I saw his jacket and his weapon, I was like, World Beyond. Mm-hmm. Silas had the almost same identical coat and the weapon, and those were used at the culling facilities for the CRM. People have been, why does his coat have the circles? Why, Silas's didn't? There could be more than one culling facility. they could have done it. My thing is, I think that it's because they wanted the Walking Dead viewers to understand this is the CRM's jacket. This is their, their stuff. Because in World Beyond, a lot of people didn't watch it, but you knew it was that because he was captured by them, so it was more obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, there are different reasons for that. And I did do the research, and that boat was the same boat that washed up on Bloodworth Island. So that's how Virgil got his things. Of course, this boat comes up, and he scavenges for supplies, puts them in his storage room, and that's where Michonne finds them. So it's just kind of this obviously setting up their series. This was a coda scene. Everybody's saying it was part of the episode. It was not. Kang, Nictero, everybody, they've called it a coda. It was just a introduction, just a nod to these characters and just kind of show you what they've been up to. And so I thought it was wonderful. I loved it. I know not everybody did, but I thought it was fabulous. So,
when Renee and I were interviewing Carrie at the finale party, we kind of talked about will Rick appear, and you guys kind of had a similar idea, and I kind of was like, I think it's going to happen where it's going to fade, and then we're going to find out. And I'm kind of glad that I was a little right in that regard. I will say though, I wasn't shocked at all that Rick appeared because it was pretty much spoiled. But Michonne, that was the jaw dropper. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great idea to include her.
And I loved how they did the different timelines and show. I thought it was just wonderfully done. And people, I've seen several times people keep asking about Jadis. So Jadis is in the CRM, and I expect we may see her. She was always scheduled to be in the movies with Rick. Pollyanna McIntosh, who is that? But she. So who knows what they'll do, but we'll see what happens with it. I'm trying to read. They finished filming the show March. Oh, for Rick. Okay, because I was confused. Mitchell was saying that they finished filming the flagship series in March, but Rick didn't do his scenes till August, and I had read that they added that on. At that point.
I will say though, the scene about with Rick and Michonne writing the letters. I was getting so confused by that because when they were both talking, their voices were overlapping. And I'm trying to focus on what's on the screen, and it's just everything was happening so fast. I need to go back and really rewatch it to soak it all in because I loved how they did it, but I thought it was poorly executed in that regard.
Well, because it was confusing because you're looking at it, and until you see the boots, you don't realize, oh, wait a minute, because it was like, what's happening here? And then when to me anyway, once I saw the boots, then I understood, oh, wait, this is happening at the same, this is like way different, timelines.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing, especially trying to listen to their dialogue. Like you said, it was overlapping. So, so watch it with I can read it.
Yeah,
more.
closed captions,
I'm definitely going to rewatch that scene. I need to rewatch the whole episode again.
I watched it in pieces over again, but I want to sit and watch the whole thing. Plus, I want to hear the orchestra because in the theater it was hard to see, or in the gym, we didn't get that effect of the orchestra. And I can't wait to sit and really dig into that with my.
And you would talk about her armor, like
everybody said that she was filming Wakanda and just walked over and did this.
One of the costume designers actually posted. I forgot her handle, so I can't even mention.
Her name is like Evelyn Colette.
Yeah, she was posting like the materials used, how she did it, and it was so awesome to see how she built it, and it was phenomenal.
She came back for this because she used to do Michonne's costume, so she actually came back to do this, and I believe she will be on the costume for the series as well, is what I read.
Makes more sense, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. So.
I'm gonna go. Everyone's asking about Michonne on the horse when she's riding into the valley there. Look, from what it looks like from what we see, it looks like a horde of walkers.
Absolutely.
You can pause it. You can stare as hard as you want. You're not gonna get the greatest look, but they do kind of look like they're shambling around a little bit out there in a field. I mean, in all honesty, what else would it be in the middle of nowhere? I mean, there's no buildings. There's no vehicles, so you just have thousands of people just walking around in a field. It doesn't make any sense.
The caravan group. I heard a lot of things on Twitter where people are like, "Oh, it was the caravan group. There's no horses. There's no carriages."
Yeah.
They had, in that last scene, it was horses, carriages, and
Yeah.
people.
And why would she be riding towards them with her sword in her hand?
Yeah.
Like.
So yeah.
Oh yeah. So Dustin, I want to know what was your takes on the ending, the Rick and Michonne ending.
I kind of feel like Randy Jackson back in the very
American
beginning.
Idol.
I'm like, you know,
You gotta say dog. You gotta say dog for me, dog.
your dog. I love Rick Grimes. Okay, I love it, but I just was not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying it more, especially when I listen to Renee explain it all and I'm, piecing it all back together. But I just didn't feel it. I'm glad that it was there. But see, I would have been a little tricky. Like I would have ended it and not put the coda there, and maybe made it like the first commercial in between the end of The Walking Dead and The Talking Dead. Maybe the second commercial, just to kind of flip everybody out because they're going to be mad, like when, who did Negan kill? You had to wait like 9 months. So that's end the show, then show the first commercial, and then hit this as like the commercial for the new show. That's something sinister I would have did. But I'm glad that it's there for the fans. Well deserved. I just didn't feel that part of it though.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have said that they were just confused. Like they didn't, Lauren says they thought she was looking at Rick. It was confusing. Christy says she was confused. I mean, a lot. And yeah, first take, and you have to roll with the captions on. Like I always watch this show because you miss a lot if you don't have the captions on. So it helps out a lot, especially with their dialogue overriding each other and everything, and the trying to sit there and like pause and read what they're writing on the note in the notepad and everything. Until you do see the boots and each person's storyline with the bag and everything else, leaning against the log, that's like Renee says, that's when you kind of put, you're able to put it together. These are separate times because it's the same items in two people's storyline. And then once again, where like you see, the helicopter is hovering, Rick takes his bag, he throws it into the boat, 672. He throws it on the boat. That boat is the same one that is what's his name? Virgil finds, brings it to pick up Michonne, and then Michonne comes across everything. So that's how you put that storyline at the end together. Rick obviously is a fighter. We all know that. We all know that he's always going to try to get back to his family. But from
the whole point of The Walking Dead was to get back to his family, right? That was the whole premise.
That was
of
the whole
Dead,
premise.
right?
Yeah. And he's in Philadelphia. Everything that's the CRM's in Philadelphia. So that's the background you see with him there. He's in Philadelphia. So yeah, a lot of people are saying it was the voice of the pilot who was speaking to him. Some people are saying some saying it's Colonel Beale and stuff like that. But it sounds like Giancarlo over.
That's what they're saying. Yeah. I guess I didn't pay attention enough to that voice.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if he
General
was
Beale, Colonel Beale,
but
Colonel Sanders.
Beale would be the one flying a helicopter.
Yeah, I know.
That's fine,
unless
he still could have been sitting up there.
He could have been the passenger.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right, so
we haven't seen General Beale.
We don't know what he looks like. Yeah, we've only heard the name. There was times where people thought that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Right. So, yeah,
and a lot of people speculated that Rick was General Beale for a while. I'm like, what?
That was a fun theory, though. That was like, okay, maybe he had amnesia and he just, something, So it was a fun theory.
They could also when the pilot was or whoever's in the helicopter and he was talking about it, he's like, he said there was no escape. He said there's no escape for the living. And he keeps telling you this. Maybe they're talking about General Beale. Like he's been telling you this. There's no escape, and you're still trying it. Maybe that was the tie-in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I got a question. This has nothing to do with General Beale or Rick, but you guys said you watch it with the captions on. I personally don't like captions because I feel like I'm always getting distracted.
Right. I don't know.
All right, thank you. All right, somebody in my corner here. How do I caption Daryl's grunts?
It just says grunt.
Yeah.
All the sounds,
Yeah.
all the sounds are on there. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it actually that would be a fun job, is captioning the noises, because
Right.
I've seen some hilarious, not maybe necessarily on The Walking Dead, but on other series, that some of the captions are hilarious when they describe the sounds.
Yeah.
Like, because there was
Thud,
one who was like
clank.
juicy chewing or something.
Yeah,
like
juicy
that.
chewing or
Yeah.
moist
Because
chewing.
I
Yeah.
do closed captioning for work, but I've never had a closed caption sound, so I'm always curious on how they
Yeah.
pull that off.
Well,
I'm always like,
Without
and
it,
then we talk about da da da.
Right.
But I've never had to do like.
yeah, but
Yeah.
without that on, so in that scene where Carol's in the kitchen and she's getting the bagels and the donuts and all that stuff and everything for Ezekiel,
When he disappears.
yeah. In that scene, if you don't have your closed captions on, you have no idea the music's playing unless you have your TV up extremely loud.
Yes.
Really?
Because there is music playing, but it's very faint in the background. But because the closed caption comes on and says music playing, you're like, then you can like really tune into it and be like, oh, all right, there is a radio in the background playing.
And Mitchell made a great point too. There's like a lot of times when you like when a zombie gets stabbed, all it says is like squelch noise.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just comical to me. I don't know.
yeah. So yeah. Oh, that was a lot.
Guys, what are we gonna do next Sunday at 9?
I
You guys
mean,
cry.
I've been watching Yellowstone, so I'm okay.
Yeah, me too.
I have to start that.
Yeah. Dustin, Yellowstone?
I got to start it with Meg, apparently.
Mm.
All right, Dustin, we're gonna chat.
I watched like 2 episodes.
I think you have to, because when I close my eyes, you talk like Red.
Yeah, and
So, rip, yeah.
I could see you as the livestock constable, you know what I mean? The livestock police, no problem.
You got the beard and everything. I mean,
You got the guns. You know what you need is a horse. You probably have one. I just haven't seen it.
you probably just have like a barn somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
Barn, Herschel, what?
Oh, yeah.
I can't hear a barn without thinking of that.
I will say that Yellowstone in the first 2 episodes of what I did see totally beat The Walking Dead, going back to the safety on the block. I mean, Yellowstone's got their stuff down.
Yeah, they are very legit cowboys out there in Montana.
The fuck.
We're getting spammed right now by somebody, so we're just going to hide it all. Figures. We'll block that. Yeah, you can click on the. Yep. There you go. Report it as spam. We've got spammed, guys. That's like a first.
We made it
well,
big.
no, that's a second. That's a second for us. We've been spammed twice. I did see somewhere really early. Hello from. I think it was like the Virgin Islands.
Like Virgin Islands
Yeah.
or something.
But they just popped in real quick, said hello from the Virgin Islands, and I was like,
That was earlier too, I saw.
yeah.
yeah,
I was
way
like,
early.
that's a new one. All right. So I don't know if you're still here or not, or if that was a spam. I'm not sure. And, please don't be
Yeah, no,
insulted for me
spam.
thinking you might be spam, but
We're treating you as such.
yeah. But yeah, that was cool to see.
Nicole, don't do it.
Well,
Don't do it to yourself. Watch it. She goes, I suppose I should start watching Fear.
Mm.
Or
No,
you could
no,
just
the
not.
first 3 seasons were great.
Outstanding.
look,
Season 1 is still will forever be my favorite season of
this
Fear.
is my rule for Fear, and I've said it all the time. I'll say it again. Do not watch Fear thinking you're going to watch The Walking Dead. You
Yeah,
are
no.
watching it from the very beginning of the breakout. The very beginning. Everyone is dumb. No one knows what to do. So don't
There's
expect to
electricity?
see. Don't expect to see Rick running around shooting fucking teddy bear walkers with pythons. It's not going to happen. You might see an extinguisher bashing in the head of a walker, maybe.
Or a nuclear bomb go off.
Well, that's later on where it gets really bad.
Sorry, spoiled. Sorry.
Somebody might get run over by a car early on.
Yeah, there could be a giant beer-shaped hot balloon flying through
Yeah.
the air.
It was a beer bottle, wasn't it?
Beer bottle.
Yeah. Lenny James was at the finale event, and he said that they Nick, or my brain lost. Chris Hardwick asked him, "Can you tell us anything about the upcoming season of Fear?" And he's like, "Well, let's just say." Well, first he said alligators and snakes in his accent.
Yeah.
Alligators and snakes. Yeah, this is his accent. So he said that Fear's going to have, instead of just walkers, they're going to have alligators and snakes now because they're in Savannah. They moved to Georgia for filming.
Mhm.
So, so then Chris was like, "Oh, so you get, a nuclear you get an apocalypse and their nuclear apocalypse, and now you have the alligators and snakes. But then, joking aside, he said that this season they put Morgan through more horrible things than they've ever done, and I'm like, wait, Morgan gets dunked on all the time.
Mhm.
That's fine. I don't like him. That's fine.
But I can't imagine what else they're gonna do to him. But anyway, yeah. So supposedly this next season, Morgan really gets put through the ringer. So
So, yeah,
We
so
need to backtrack a little bit because I think we're scaring Nicole into not watching.
no.
it.
So look,
But no, I
Watch
highly
Fear.
recommend it.
watch Fear 1 through.
First half of 4.
Yeah, there you go. 1 through first half of 4, then stop, and then just start at 7.
no, don't watch
No.
that.
Come back at 8.
8, sorry, yeah, 8. Yeah,
Yeah,
come back at 8. Yeah, don't watch 7.
I would watch the whole thing and skip 7 because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, because even, some of the stuff, like with John Dory, I really enjoyed when Garrett Dillahunt was on.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed
Absolutely.
that stuff. And that was his choice to leave. He was ready to go. He had new things to do, and he was done.
He was smart to go.
Yeah. Well, but I think, him leaving hurt the show, which is not his fault. He's got other
Yeah.
projects. I mean, he's doing great things right now. But yeah, I mean, so we'll see. I don't know. They keep saying, oh, the new filming location, they're going to reinvent the series and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you have the same 2 showrunners. You're not changing jack. But we'll see.
But the thing is, Walking Dead did the same thing too. They reinvented it with the farm. They reinvented it with the prison. Alexandria. It's nothing new. We've seen this time and time again.
Yeah.
It's just people love to shit on Fear because it's not Rick. It's not Daryl.
Oh, sure.
And so I admit, everybody knows 7 sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a huge Madison fan. For years, you guys all know, I have been saying Madison was never dead. And now we know she's back. So I am actually really excited for this season. And now that they're going to be in Georgia, I'm really excited to see how they're going to pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah. I'm hoping that maybe a site move, a location move will help them out. I really do.
Oh, I have so much hope. I mean, you guys, this is my job. I have to watch it regardless of how good or bad it is.
What about
And
you?
I have to write about it. So,
Dustin,
Yeah, what about you, Dustin?
you haven't watched Fear, right? Or you have?
Yeah, see, I'm totally opposite of you guys. Like, I didn't like the beginning of it. I liked the end.
Mm.
Did you like 7?
So 7 and I kind of like, I was going through some things there and work and traveling, and it's, I need to go back and watch it intently.
Mm.
No, I mean, I still think, again, if I group it all together, I like where we are now better
Yeah.
than
Right.
just.
Yeah, I put
And I watched season 1 like 3 times, but I just could not.
See, once again, like, I really like season 1. I just like seeing the raw beginning. I really did. And like the struggle to like learn and do and how, like what's happening, what are these things? Like, it was more real to me than, Morgan hitting Rick in the back of the head with a shovel. I don't know. Like, stuff like that. But
I think I oversold it to myself because I was thinking, well, maybe if we're watching Fear at the beginning, maybe like I'll see like Rick and Shane drive by with the car, something in the background,
Right.
something that,
yeah.
I probably ruined it for myself, but
Well, look, I mean, look, if this shit were to hit the fan, by the time we woke up tomorrow morning, we'd all know what to fucking do. I'd be running around like a madman, stabbing everything in the head I could, dead or alive, or going anyway. So you're in my way.
For each one of you that's dead, that's a 1% chance I'm living.
Like, I'm just going crazy, I got my 2 katanas that are going to be on my back, Glock, shotgun. We're ready to go. I even have an axe. We're okay.
I'll just go
I got my
car
plan.
and use my butcher knife.
Yeah, use something heavy and sharp. Give yourself some length.
I will say though, I love, with Walking Dead, there was those, there were some webisodes of it. But they never really had any appearance or any impact on the main show.
Right.
Fear went above and beyond with it. I mean, they had Flight 462 tie in perfectly with some of the survivors appearing in Fear. And I'm still mad at Fear for never telling us whatever happened with Alex, but that's a story for another day. But I thought they did an amazing job tying the webisodes into the show. And even again with, during season 7, they had more webisodes.
Yeah.
And they did really well. That's one thing they get right that The Walking Dead got so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Go up the episodes.
By the way, Dustin Christie says, "Thank you, Dustin. I voted for you for constable." She says you guys are neighbors.
She's your neighbor.
Yeah.
But not close a neighbor, but yeah. So she said that she voted for you. So
That's very sweet. Yes, absolutely.
Wait, actually, Dustin, you, if I'm not mistaken, at the camp, you went home with some great souvenirs from the auction, right?
Oh my God.
What did you go home with?
Guy was an animal.
Your hand go up and up. And
Guy
up.
was an animal.
Yeah.
You know, I was having one of those moments. You all left me unsupervised.
Hold on, let's be clear. We were not your assigned handler. You had an assigned handler.
She let you down.
She failed you.
No, I don't actually.
Giving you that raw energy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know it's for a good cause.
Mhm.
yes.
It's going for something great. But yeah, I ended up getting the piece of the windmill that was autographed by all the cast at the camp attended this year, and something great that I can add to hopefully in the future, you know, with other cast members and everything. So, yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
That is
That's
dope.
great.
That's like a one of a kind item, you know.
That's something you can keep adding signatures to. Yeah. You can just, yeah.
By the way, our banner, I forgot to tell you guys, the banner you guys donated to Bbeautys, I think it sold for over 200, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like 250 or something.
Yeah, I think it
I
was
mean, that's cool because then we sold both banners for $250, which is
Yeah, you see us trying to
Yeah.
roll it out. We were like,
We're like pulling.
we had our microphone, so we only had one hand. We're like on the floor trying to get it. It
These
was
two
not
short
a
girls up there trying to undo this big giant banner.
It was not a pretty sight.
Very cool though. I'm happy that, you know, it went to somebody who obviously wanted it. So $250 is for a banner that we got people to sign. I'll take that.
free.
It
Yeah.
was so funny because there was one point where Renee had to go off stage for something. So I'm up on stage working it. And next thing you know, like she comes back, she's like, "Did my husband buy anything else?" Because during the show, Josh was just like,
He was bidding on everything.
everything. And if he had bid on anything while she was gone, I was gonna up the bid just to make sure he didn't do it. So I knew somebody would outbid me.
And it didn't help that Oscar is so close with you and was egging you on from the stage.
Yeah, that didn't help at all. But yeah, I will say that you know, this man dug deep for charity. So we, you know,
Absolutely.
just
A testament to the person you are.
exactly 100%. They want to know. So you guys want a rendezvous spot? So
They stayed at my house.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. Dustin is in Tennessee usually, or if he's not in Tennessee, he's traveling south somewhere. So I'm gonna actually say, yeah, rendezvous at Renee's. She's got a big house. We could fortify a nice compound there, and so it's gonna be Renee's spot where we could sleep comfortably, and it's renovated and ready to go.
Almost renovated.
Almost renovated.
Renee, chop chop.
Yeah, I
We
mean
really work so fast.
we got some nice all-terrain vehicles between what Dustin has, my Jeep. You got an SUV. We'll be all
Yeah,
right.
we're
You know,
good.
we're good. So
I'll bring the moonshine from Tennessee, and we can all those girls will just burn the damn woods down.
There you go. Clear.
There you go.
You need a clear.
The
You need
alcohol
a
was
clear
too
sight.
warm.
Gotta have clear
Yeah,
sight.
exactly.
Linda, thank you so much. It's 3 a.m. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. Please get some sleep, and then
I want to
yes,
shout out to Linda that her and I hardly ever agree on things in this, but I love that neither one of us get mad about it, but we kind of get heated sometimes in our conversations, but you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I just love talking with Linda because it's weird we don't agree on a lot of Walking Dead stuff for some reason, but it's always fun talking with her.
but that's what makes us family, right? That's why that's why we're a family.
A dysfunctional family, but a family nonetheless.
That's it. All right. So yeah. So good night, Linda. So next week, guys. I mean, we'll be back.
We'll talk about something.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll have, you know, like we always do, a little, you know, pop culture thing. What are you watching? What are you doing?
Maybe we'll even be able to pull a guest out of our ass. Who knows? You know.
Yeah. Well,
You never know what happens in a week,
we'll
right?
be checking on December 5th. We have someone lined up for December 5th.
Ah, yes, we do.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
just have to verify. We have to verify December 5th, and then I have 2 other people on my inbox that I have to get back to and solidify dates, and I'll, you know, let you guys know that as well. in the
That's
next
one
coming
cool thing
weeks.
is when we were at the camp and we talked to all the guests up at the panel, every single person we talked to was like, I would love to be on. Like,
Yeah.
just like message me on
Well, most of them
Instagram.
said after the finale, they went
Sure.
they had to get to the finale event, get that taken care of, and
Yep.
then they were going to be ready. So
Yeah.
now we can really start reaching out. So
Yeah.
we should have plenty of guests coming up to fill the void because they've talked that maybe Fear will start early, which I know we'll see how it goes, how much we get to talk about it, but that it can be before Maggie and Negan in April. So
Right.
we'll see.
Yeah, we should be able to fill that void with some good guests. Some
Oh, yeah.
stellar people.
Becky says, please not a Tuesday.
I will do my best for a Monday. No problem.
Yeah, it's hard for Mondays because the guys work. But Mitchell asks if he can be one of the guys we're going to interview. So
You got it, man. You can tell us all about your experience.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
he got to see a lot of stuff for the first time. He hadn't seen any of the stuff.
Tiffy, you always say you can't make it to the camp, and I think that's
It's
just
a family event. People bring
yeah.
their little kids, and your kids
Exactly.
would have a blast.
bring the whole family.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to watch your kids because there's everybody there who watches everybody's kids.
Everybody's inside the hotel with security,
Yeah.
right, Dustin?
Yeah, there's security everywhere.
I've never felt more safe at a convention.
Yeah.
I can honestly say.
So you can pack them up,
Guys with guns and
drive them on down. We'll have a good time. We'll take care of you.
Lauren, please have your son reach out to us on social media. That'd be pretty cool.
My son was a walker,
Yeah,
whisperer.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Yeah.
yeah, send us a message.
Yeah.
We love having any guests. Yeah, we love it. We just love it.
And anybody here who is in the chat now who has not been to the camp, I see a lot of people talking about, I wish I could go, I or I want to go. Do yourself a
Down
favor.
there. I mean, what?
Do yourself a favor. This coming May.
Yeah. The guest list is going to be fun. I've written bios for several people, and let me just say, don't miss May.
Yeah, this coming May, like if there is a bucket list for you to be able to be a part of something as far as The Walking Dead goes, this is going to be the one you want to go to.
Yeah.
Now look, times are tough for everybody, but we are a very well-knit, functioning family. Reach out, and every one of us here, plus hundreds of other people, will reach out to extend a helping hand to anybody. Look, we flew Lucy from the UK to the camp. So like, there's things that we can do. We're kind of like Make-A-Wish. We can make shit happen. All right. So
And one thing is the camp. What I think is phenomenal about the camp is that they do payment plans for tickets, which I've never heard of a convention doing that, and I think that is so friggin' cool that they did that.
Yeah.
So make sure you just Google them, the camp events. It has all their social medias, there's a website, everything. You go to the website, look into the ticket plans. I think it's such a phenomenal, cool thing they did because everybody knows in today's day and age, everything costs more than it should, and everybody's making less than they should be. It is a great way to help you budget it. I mean, it is so. The minute I saw that Casey and Oscar had set that up, that was like, I was like, that's going to help people. So I mean, look into it seriously, and it'll be worth the time and the money.
I think Casey the other day said something to me that was really heartfelt, and it just kind of clicked. You have one of those moments you talk to somebody for so many years, and then you get one of those moments. And she said, everybody comes to watch. The celebrities. She's like, I like to watch the fans, the celebrities.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very true. I mean, it's very true. Like, this is good. It will be. This is not your old school Walker Stalker 10,000 people. This is intimate. This is like, yeah.
Like Shaw and Paolo were dancing at our prom. We had all of the celebrities at one point were at the parties. They came out and they talk with everyone. They, interact, and it's just completely. This is nothing like, if you've not been to the camp, you have not experienced this family event. It's unbelievable. And this year they're extending it to Thursday. Thursday we are going to do this amazing outreach in downtown Atlanta. We are going to be serving the homeless people of Atlanta, and I mean, when I say serving, I mean showers, food, supplies. Seriously, we've just gotten the ball rolling for this, and you guys cannot believe the outpour of help for this event. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, I just can't even explain it. It's just going to be unreal. So, you know, figure out a way to be a part of this. And everybody's saying payment plans, they didn't have a clue. Yes, they have payment plans. Check out their site, and it's just unreal.
Ryan is posting right now the tickets payment plan for the event. So that right there, you click on that, and that'll bring you to the camp's ticket page where you guys can set up a payment plan if you're interested in going.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
When Oscar and I, my moment with Case, I was thinking, God, I have one with Oscar too. I gotta tell him I want to get in trouble. But he and I were just talking at random at the last camp. He's bouncing everywhere, I'm running everywhere. We just kind of had this moment where we stopped outside the hotel, outside the lobby, and it was just like, this is kind of, he's like, isn't this great and beautiful? I was like, yeah. It's one of the only places I know that you can come as a fan and leave as family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of stuck over and over.
Yeah.
And because I've got friends and people from The Walking Dead and this that they really are family.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how we all met. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Shoot,
I call Renee mom.
the first time I met Dustin, I've never met this man a day in my life. And it was like the first time I met him, I'm in his truck and he picks me up from the airport, and it was you and Chris. And within 5 minutes, it was like I grew up with these guys.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like, it's like that.
That's how it was with you and I, Chris.
Yeah.
Within seconds.
It just solidifies, the type of people you're around. And it's amazing. So, if you can get there, it'd be great.
It's great because everything's on one spot too. So if you do fly or whatever, you can get the Uber, come to the hotel and stay at the hotel. I mean, there's,
Uber's like $50. I did it this year. It was probably with tip. It was probably like $55.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
if you're splitting it, even better.
Yeah, split it with somebody. Yeah. With the
Sure. That's what I was going to say. You can always split it. Or like, if you're lucky enough, you can get a ride from somebody, who's driving to return the rent-a-car or something. And you throw them a couple of bucks, whatever. Yeah. But it's really not expensive, honestly.
And when you do the payment plan, then okay, it's this much money. That's your hotel, your food, your this or that. You know what I mean? Like, I depends on what level you get. You can make it all included, so this is what I need for this event.
Yeah.
And sure you'll need some spending money or whatever, but I mean, you go in knowing this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, and you can, believe me, you can get just as much out of your general admission ticket as you can with any of the others. Like, don't be scared by general admission ticket. It's not like.
Yeah, it's not like with if you guys walk the stalker, it's not like there's a separate VIP line versus general admission.
Right.
VIP really, it just gets you if you do the inclusive, it gets you the room, it gets you your meals. With general admission, if you just want to go to the party, it's like $20 extra.
Right.
But you get the same experience whether you're VIP or general. There is no difference.
That's what's amazing. That's what really makes it
I
hope
that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
Especially because it doesn't make you feel bad if you can't necessarily afford the VIP or the like with other conventions they had like the silver and the gold and the platinum and blah, 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 and they were so expensive. And it made you
in this area if you don't have this bag.
And it made you feel like a peasant, like go like peasant shoe, and it's like, how shitty is that? You know what I mean? Because everybody's got a budget and everybody's budget is different.
Yeah.
And so it really does there's no difference. Yeah. That's what I've noticed, right? So like when I'm not gonna say the name, but when I've gone to other conventions, right? One of the first things I always did was looked at the pass, and I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but look to see like, oh, you have a diamond, oh, you have a gold, oh, you have a silver, just because that was how it was.
Yep.
But the camp, never once have I looked at somebody's badge.
Yeah.
Never once have I ever had that thought, because it doesn't affect your experience.
Don't mean shit.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So.
Real quick, I know we're about to wrap up. So many people, it's like, oh, Walking Dead, it's a show. And, I've heard people say in the past, this show changed my life. And it wasn't until like these past couple of years I really saw what people meant by that. Like Walking Dead, now that it's over, it's like Walking Dead changed my life so much. Like this little show that it introduced me to some of my people, internet strangers, turned into friends, turned into family. It led me here to you guys. Like it's a show that really can save people, especially like during COVID, people were so lonely, and it's just, these friendships that you make, they really can help you out in some of your darkest times. So it's weird. I've never had a show like that before.
Yeah.
You know, I think, like, for me, I look at it this way, right? Had it not been for The Walking Dead, I wouldn't have had this experience. I wouldn't have met all of you. I mean, I would have known Chris because we worked together, but he and I wouldn't have bonded the way that we did because of The Walking Dead. I wouldn't have met you guys. I wouldn't have met Dustin. And, you know, I wouldn't have met people like Carrie. He's a perfect example, right?
Right.
This past year, I hit my 30th birthday, and I was having a little bit of a crisis about it. I'm not going to lie to you, because I'm like, it's 30, and my life, in certain regards, it wasn't where I wanted it to be at this point in time. And so, but other aspects are, but other aspects aren't. And so I was kind of dealing with that and having my own little crisis about it, and, you know, whatever. But one of my best friends, Danielle, had thrown me a surprise birthday party, and one of the parts of the surprise birthday party was this, like, these video messages from different people. And there's people that from different walks of my life. I mean, I still don't understand how she ever contacted people from 18,000 different aspects of my life, but she did. And, like, I know, like Renee and Josh were on it, which was so cool. And they were, like, the ending to it, you know what I mean? And one of them was also Carrie. Mm. And I saw Carrie's face pop up, and I heard her voice before I saw her face. And that's the part that actually made me, like, tear up a little bit, because I was like, holy shit, like, this is someone who, you know, has been on 3 of my favorite shows of all time. Mm-hmm. And this is somebody that I only met because of this. And she was, you know, saying such a heartfelt thing to me, saying she took time out of her day to record a video message to me to say happy birthday. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that was like my surrealist feeling I've ever had because of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And so it makes me emotional, because we're not just closing a show for me. We're closing a chapter of my life that I've had since I was 18, which to me is mind boggling, because that's almost half my life. You know what I mean? That is insane.
Yeah. I would have never met Becky, sweet Becky from the UK, who lives in Chicago.
With her tin of tomatoes in the garage.
Yeah. Freezing her ass off in Chicago right now. Yeah, I mean, there's just Tiffy. I mean, I wouldn't have met any of you people.
I want to give a shout out to Becky real quick, though. So at the camp, I've been trying to get Cooper's autograph for the past, like, 5 or 6 years, right? And every convention that I've gone to that he's been at, something happened where I could not get it. And it was a joint photo of him and Nadine Marissa as Nabila. Yep. And it says Jabila on it, right? And that's like their ship name, right? And so I had Nadine sign it in, like, New Jersey, like 2017, 2016, something like that. I think it was like 2017. And so I've had it for like 5 years, and I could never have Cooper sign it. So I went up to Becky, and she was with Josh Hamilton at his table, and where he was a very central location that Cooper would have had to walk by to get to his table. And every time I went to Cooper's table, he wasn't there. He was either at the group photo op, he was at the
cobbler thing.
The cobbler, you know, the cobbler with Cooper, you know, and he wasn't there. So Becky took my number and was like, I'll text you, babe. As soon as I see him, I'll text you. and actually it never ended up happening, because I actually ended up seeing him later on. I happened to grab some food, and he sat down next to me, we were eating, and he was talking, and we were catching up. And he was like, he goes, you know, I got to run. I got to go back to my table. And I said, okay, do you mind if I walk with you? Because I got to have you sign something. And he was like, no. He was like, what do you need for me to sign? I was like, this. And he goes, just give me a marker. And he signed it for me, which is really cool. But Becky was willing to go out of her way to make sure she kept eyes on Cooper for me at all times when he walked by. So it was cool. Thank you, Becky.
Yeah. Yeah, we all
impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
She texted me update. Yeah, I haven't seen him yet. Don't worry. I'm keeping a lookout.
There's moments like that happen every camp. So, Dustin, I hear you're traveling. So just so everybody knows, Dustin literally stopped at a hotel so that he could do the show with us tonight. So he was traveling from Florida. Were you traveling from or to?
Been working in Florida doing search and rescue and asset protection after Hurricane Ian.
There you go.
I just got to the point wrapping up and trying to get home here for the holidays and spend some time with my dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, got the lovely call to come visit and spend time with you guys. I'm like, absolutely.
So this man literally stopped in his travels, rented a hotel room so that he could be on this with us tonight. So if that doesn't show you how important his family is to people, that right there alone, you know, like it's a wow moment. And, you know, from brother to brother. I appreciate you doing this.
Nicole says you should be in a tent.
Well, the funny thing, and I'll let you finish that. It's heartfelt. I want you to finish it so I can feel warm and frou-frou. So, Casey calls one day, and I literally have been in this condo, and there was an alligator floating by water, still 4 feet tall. And she calls me. She's like, "Hey, I know it's last minute, but can you hop on this webinar, this conference?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me just a couple of minutes. I'm going to be, right there for you." But but no, it was my pleasure to stop. I appreciate the invite, and like I said, longtime fan of the show. And then, now, Chris, you finished what you were saying.
Yeah. I was just saying, I do appreciate it. I appreciate everything you do because there's a lot of people out there who don't know, who Dustin is and what Dustin does. But this man is a humanitarian. He goes to, all these national disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, cleanups, search and rescue, personal, protection. This man does it all. And then he's also one of the most generous people I've ever met in my life, honestly. He's the typical, what you would call a Southern gentleman. And, 5 minutes after meeting him, you're ready to bring him home to dinner and introduce him to mom and dad, look at my new friend. So yeah,
She goes, "Let me wrangle this alligator and I'll join you." I apologize. Nicole is really good for those one-liners that really just make you break character, and that's there it is.
But if you're gonna wrangle an alligator, are we gonna see you on Fear this season?
Oh hell no! It'd be an upgrade.
Morgan, imagine.
I'm glad. I hope the camera systems were out in that condo. That video ever gets on the internet, I was hurdling things and fell, and we'll just leave it at that. Yes, professional alligator wrangler.
They shouldn't damage the moneymaker, though.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. 2.5 hours of wrapping up a show that has pretty much been a part of our lives for 12 years.
Yeah.
I hope we did it due respect. I hope you guys enjoyed being here with us as much as we enjoyed having you here with us. And we're not gone. We will be back. We will be a part of everything, the Walking Dead universe and beyond. We will be here just to be here because this is part of our sanity as well. So the family will always be here for you guys. With that being said, once again, thank you, Dustin. Thank you to everybody being here tonight. We want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving, or maybe you live somewhere where they're doing Thanksgiving yet, or maybe it's something different. But definitely giving thanks to every one of you guys for always being here with us. Love you guys. Please be safe, and we will see you next week.
Bye,
Good
guys.
night. Peace.
Bye.
Dustin, don't go nowhere.
Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry. Subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.